You were commentating on the game, and you were saying in that game it's such a powerful lineup. It was difficult to understand how Hampshire had lost the first 4 games, but it shows how this can turn around, because all of a sudden the form turned, and now you're in the quarterfinals.
Well, I think the greatest thing about this competition now is how unpredictable it is, because you just never know what you're going to get, do you? I mean, we've done this a long time now, Adrian, and you never know what you're going to get from one night to the next. Now, I mean, looking at this, you would say Hampshire will win, but all it does, it needs a couple of sixes in one over, and somebody on either side suddenly puffs their chest out and gets confident, and all of a sudden they change the game, and then all of us, and the others are chasing it, and these little moments just change matches, and it can happen on either side on any given night or afternoon.
In terms of Hampshire, what do they do tonight? Do they take it easy with the quarter-final in mind, or are they thinking, well, we need to keep ticking over?
Well, I mean, that's the danger, actually, because for professional sports people, once you take that incentive away of winning and something being on it, that actually takes away a large part of your game. That's what keeps you going. That's what makes you play, a few extra percent, which gives you your competitive edge. Now, that's not there. And now I would hope that the coaching staff have said to these guys, look, we've got the momentum. We need the momentum going into next week, into the quarterfinals. We can't have a poor performance. So there's your motivation. So I think that's, for me, that's going to be an important factor tonight, is how Hampshire play tonight. They've got to keep the intensity up. But on the other side of it, a morale-boosting victory for Sussex tonight. They'll be looking for a victory here, just for themselves as much against the opposition.
Hampshire Hawks have won the toss. They're going to field. Is that something that Hampshire like to do, Kevin?
Well, they haven't won the toss much, actually, which hasn't helped. So the fact that James Vince has had to make a decision there, Adrian, he hasn't had to make too many of those in the last few games. I'll very quickly give you the Hampshire team news. There was a slight doubt over Chris Wood. He's having a bowl now. It's funny that's after the toss. He is actually in the Hampshire starting 11. There was talk about if he failed a fitness test, then he might make way, but it looks like he's okay. So Chris Wood stays in the side. The one change from Friday night, which they won that game against Gloucestershire in a low-scoring thriller at the Ageas Bowl to secure their quarter-final spot, is that the Australian bowling all-rounder Nathan Ellis has been rested. He's had a few niggles throughout the group stages. He's a really good bowler at the death. My word, I tell you what, the more I see of that guy, serious. So Hampshire need him fit for next week. Amazingly, actually, they brought in a batter, Toby Albert, the 20-year-old. Not amazing, because on Friday night they actually played an extra bowler and took out a batter. Toby Albert made way, so he's back in because Mason Craig played last Friday, having missed a few games. So Albert's in. Very quickly, Hampshire are Ben McDermott, James Vince, Tom Press, Joe Weatherly, Ross Whiteley, James Fuller, who's got runs here at the death the last couple of years, and he's in good form, Liam Dawson, Wood, Albert, Wheel, and Mason Craig.
So Hampshire have won the toss and they're going to bowl first. In terms of Sussex, Tom Alsop, who was of course on loan from Hampshire to Sussex at the beginning of the season, that loan move was then made permanent. Hampshire did allow Tom Alsop to play in this game, but we understand Tom Alsop has got an ankle niggle, so he's not playing in this game. Tom Haynes, the Sussex 4-day captain, therefore comes into the side. And an emotional night as well for Will Beer, the Sussex leg spinner, who hasn't had his contract renewed here at Hove for next season. So this will be Will Beer's last T20 game for Sussex. And before the game, there was a presentation made out in the middle by Luke Wright, John Philby as well, the Sussex chairman out there as well. Very nice as well. Will Beer was presented with his county cap as well, so that was another really nice touch. But a sad day really, because Will Beer's been a terrific performer for Sussex, but he won't be here next season. I've got a feeling he could get picked up somewhere else. He's a very fine T20 cricketer, is Will Beer. So an emotional night for him, and he did speak out in the middle after the toss was held, and we'll speak to him after the close of play. Now the Hampshire players making their way down the steps. The only disappointment here tonight, Kevin, I guess, is that it's a beautiful evening, and really this ground ought to be absolutely packed to the rafters, and I think it could be. A 6:30 start on a Sunday is not the greatest, is it, with kids with school tomorrow, etc. That probably hasn't helped. The fact that Sussex haven't qualified for the quarterfinals is also a factor as well. So it's by no means a full house at the moment. Could well be there's people who are going to drift in during the match, but should be a terrific game of cricket. Floodlights are on, and I think Sussex with something to prove. I mean, they haven't had a great campaign, but you've played this game professionally, Kevin. Your professional pride's at stake in a game like this.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and you want to sign off with a victory. I mean, I know it probably means nothing overall, but if you sign off the competition with a victory, then it kind of doesn't feel so bad. And I'm just having a look at the matches you played here this year. So you have won
2 here.
2-1 and lost 3. But a couple of them been quite narrow, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And there was a game here against Gloucestershire that Sussex threw away. I mean, they needed 28 to win off 5 overs with 8 wickets in hand, and they contrived to lose the game here against Gloucestershire, which was extraordinary. The amazing thing about Sussex in this campaign, they've beaten the 2 sides who are 1 and 2 in the table. They thrashed Somerset at Taunton. They really did thrash Somerset down there. They beat Surrey here in a bit of a clip. Well, in the end, they beat them comfortably. A game that probably Surrey should have won, but under the lights of Friday night. So Sussex could do it. They've beaten Somerset, they've beaten Surrey, but they've lost too many games where they perhaps should have won. And the Gloucestershire game was absolutely pivotal. I think once they lost that game, the feeling was they weren't going to qualify. And they haven't been helped. There's been a revolving door of players. Kevin, they had Mohammed Rizwan here, the Pakistan wicket-keeper batsman. The idea was he was here for the entire tournament, but with the international calendar changing around, he suddenly gets called back by Pakistan. They bring Josh Phillippe in. Josh Phillippe then gets called off over for Australia B. I think they call Australia B. They played over in Sri Lanka. So it was players coming and going. That was no fault of Sussex's. That's the way the calendar goes. And I think that constant revolving door of players didn't really help. I don't know what the score's been with Hampshire. Have you had a fairly consistent squad or not really?
Well, I think Hampshire got lucky a little bit with Ben McDermott because he could have quite easily been in one of those 3 squads that went to Australia, but I think they managed to. I mean, I don't know the full story, but you hear little snippets, and I think they've managed to persuade the Australian selectors that actually a full season of T20 cricket here would be better than him probably playing the odd game, maybe one in Sri Lanka, but carrying the drinks the rest of the time. And to be fair, Ben McDermott told me as much as that a few T20 games ago.
So the umpires, Michael Burns and Rob White, making their way out to the middle, followed by their Hampshire side in their bright yellow shirts and blue trousers, yet out by James Vince. Following behind them are the Sussex openers, who are making their way out. Josh Phillippe, who's playing his last game in the T20 for Sussex tonight, and Harrison Ward, young batsman who's, I think he's had a decent campaign. Perhaps runs don't show Harrison Ward has had a great campaign, but I think he's a young batsman who has got his place at the top of the order. It'd be interesting to see how he goes tonight. Floodlights on, lots of blue sky above Hove, the final group stages of the T20 Blast. I think it's a bit better this year, Kev. Played in a block, don't you? I think it's been better. I mean, I'm not saying an early start is great, but at least you're in the quarterfinals. You're not waiting weeks and weeks for a quarterfinal, and then potentially a finals day as well.
I agree, and of course, I know you've had a revolving door. I mean, you had, was it Tim Seifert the other day?
Yeah.
He got 100 against Hampshire in the game at our place. So you have had a revolving door of overseas, which doesn't help. But I think generally it helps you with your overseas players, because if they are around for a while, you keep them. I mean, last year we got into the quarterfinals. We didn't have the left-hander Aussie. I'll think of his name in a minute. It'll come to me. But because there was such a gap between the group stages, and of course the rest of it was after the 100, that we missed out. So we still keep McDermott. And all the momentum was on. Of course, the talk is as well that on finals day, I think that's around some England matches as well. 50 over game. And so whether Hampshire will be impacted if they get to finals day with James Vince, I guess we'll have to see. Anyway, he's not in it, so that doesn't matter. Right, it's going to be Chris Wood who's going to open the bowling from the sea end of the ground. He's going to be bowling to Josh Phillippe on a lovely evening here on the south coast. Hampshire with a slip in place, and we're about to get underway. Very good evening, wherever you're listening to. BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Solent, Adrian Harms and Kevin James, as in comes Chris Wood, left arm over the wicket, in and bowls to Phillippe down the leg side, and gets underway immediately with a wide that Phillippe has nothing to do with down the leg side. Oh dear. Sussex won with that loss. That wasn't a great start. Bit of swing. Do you know, in all the years we've done this, can you ever remember doing a game on Sunday night? No, I can't. No, I really can't. I remember plenty of times we've sat outside here, Kevin, when games have been on Sky TV, here at Hove, but I can't ever remember a Sunday night. No, I can't. In comes Wood bowls, and Phillippe just plays that to mid-wicket where there is no run, fielded there by Joe Weatherly. I'm not sure who decided on the start times. I'm presuming is that the ECB wanting various games to start at different times. I don't know, but I would have thought in terms of a crowd, you'd have been better off with the 2:30 on a Sunday. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, there's 3 games tonight, isn't there? So whilst one of them is being covered on a certain pay-per-view TV, the rest aren't.
In comes Wood, bowled, and Philippi hammers that one. He doesn't quite get all of that, but it's going to go away for 4 runs. Pulled around to the leg side. It sounded a bit tinny, didn't it?
Yeah.
And he didn't get it all, but he's pulled it away, Philippi, and he picks up a boundary. 5 without loss are the Sharks. And this first over being bowled by Chris Wood. The slipper's now gone. There are 5 men saving one on the offside, 2 on the leg side, and the 2 fielders who are out. There's a deep mid wicket and a fine leg as Philippi just surveys that leg side field. And Wood runs away from us, up the hill, comes in and bowls to Philippi, who clips that straight to mid-wicket field, again there by Weatherly, and there is no run.
So how's Philippi done for you guys? This is what, his 6th game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he batted beautifully down at Taunton, Kevin. That was his best knock. You know, that was a really good win for Sussex, and Sussex were on a bit of a roll at that stage. They had Obi McCoy at the West Indian, who was in for a couple of games. He was another guy who only came for 3 or 4 games, but he bowled beautifully. In comes Wood, bowls, and Philippi hammers that. He's going to get caught at mid-wicket. Weatherly is underneath it. No, he's not. It actually went over his head. But there were 3 Hampshire players converging on that. I don't know whether they'd rather someone needed to call to take that catch, but it was skied in the air by Philippi. And in the end, the ball goes to ground, and Philippi goes to 5, and the Sharks to 6 without loss.
Yeah,
that was a strange one, wasn't it?
It was really. I think both Fuller and who's out there at deep square leg? I think Ross Whiteley both thought actually that Weatherly was the nearest, so probably just left it to him, even though they were close to him. It wasn't actually, it was Mason Crane out there at deep square leg. But yeah, Weatherly in the end, I think he was closer to it about a couple of seconds before he actually ended up with the ball bouncing. He seemed to get further away from it.
In comes Wood to bowl to Harrison Ward, and Ward plays that one to backward point. They think about a single. Ward was very keen, but he was sent back by Philippi, and there is no run. 6 without loss. 1 ball to go in this, the opening over, the first ball being a wide. Try and keep you up to date with events in the Test match as well as we go through today. I think they played till 7 o'clock in the Test. India 112 for 3, leading England by 244. Chris Wood turns just down in front of us. And up the hill to bowl to the tall left-hander Harrison Ward. He's in and bowls, and Ward looks to hammer that one down the ground in really no position to play the shot. He rehearses the shot, but it's a dot ball, and in the end a decent over from Wood, having bowled the first ball as a wide, and the Sharks are 6 without loss, having lost the toss, have been asked to bat here by Hampshire.
So Sussex coming to this game having lost 7 of their last 8.
Yeah,
I mentioned earlier Hampshire won 8 of their last 9.
Yeah, and didn't Middlesex start the competition winning their first 3? And they were cock-a-hoop, and they haven't qualified.
Gone back to normal, haven't they?
You know, yeah. I mean, Sussex won, lost their last 2, then they won 3. But since then, it's been, there's no question, it's been a disappointing campaign for Sussex. They put a lot of eggs in the T20 basket. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for them this season.
Well, you've had a good run in the last few seasons, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. Finals day last year, and then losing to Kent.
Brad Wheel from the Cromwell Road end then, right arm over and bowls to Philippi and works that away down towards fine leg. It's Chris Wood coming round, fields just to our left. Beautiful sun-drenched evening here on the coast. You know what, I read something. You had a dinner recently here, didn't you, to celebrate 150 years?
Yeah.
And I read something. One of the speakers said that the ground was originally closer to the sea.
I've got a book actually that's been given to me to read about 150 years of Hove, so I don't think it was on this site. You're quite right.
It wasn't. It moved. Yeah, I can't know. I didn't know when. It was just a sort of a summary of what this person had said. And we're only 2 blocks away from the sea, and you think, gosh, it was even closer.
Yeah. So it's the first time I've seen Ben McDermott. He's a big fella, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a strong oak. Here's Wheel bowls, and Hayne hits it up in the air. Could be caught at mid-on. Vince is under it, takes it. That's the first wicket of the evening. And that is Ali Orr, isn't it?
Well, I thought it was Harrison Ward who'd opened the batting because he showed us at the top of the order. That's completely my misunderstanding. It was Alistair Orr. It was short. He was the hero for Sussex last week in the championship match against Derbyshire. Sussex's first win in 20 championship matches last week. He made 141, and he's been in really good form in the T20, but not tonight. Misses out, miscued, and Ali Orr is on his way.
Yeah, trying to hit Brad Wheel away on the leg side. Cross-batted, big top edge. Quite a simple catch there for James Vince. And Orr departs. And, he's got years ahead of him, hasn't he? It's only his 8th match tonight, so he's quite inexperienced in this form.
And it's been a surprise. I mean, he's done very well in the Championship at Alior. They brought him into the T20, and he's played a couple of really good knocks, notably at Chelmsford. That was the highest scoring T20 match in T20 history, the aggregate scores, and he did really well in that game. And he's done well in the Championship as well. But I think he's a good, promising player. But that was one of his favourite shots, looking to pull it away onto the leg side. But this is not his night tonight. This is Harrison.
It is, yeah. Another left-hander, so I can see where the slight mistake was. Here's Brad Wheel then, down the hill, bowls, and a bit of bounce there as that's nudged away towards mid-wicket, and that is Ross Whiteley doing the fielding there. Harrison Ward, 188 runs in this competition this year, striking at 129 per 100. It's only his 19th match, so another fairly inexperienced man in this competition.
23 or 5 balls down at Taunton earlier this season, so he can hit a long ball.
Yeah. Here's Wheel again then, no slip. Wouldn't expect that, although you do see it every now and then. Goes for a thrash there and misses it outside the off stump, goes through to McDermott.
One of the problems with Sussex in this competition has been that they've, too infrequently, they've really had a base to build upon. They've lost too many wickets early on.
Yeah, well, I think fortunately Hampshire learnt that lesson quite quickly, because in the 4 games that they lost, the first 4, they did lose wickets in the power play. They were much more measured after that, and it's amazing how many runs you can still score, even by not having the biggest power play. There's a lovely shot on the past the diving field at point. That's pleased the crowd. I think that's Tom Prest there at point, diving to his right in front of the umpire, who's obviously shielding himself from the sun because the sun is shining left to right as we look. Nicely timed by Harrison Ward.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. I just wonder whether, is that Robbie White who's the umpire there at point? I just wonder if he slightly got in the way. He was trying desperately to get out of the way. Either way, it's run away for 4.
Wheel again then. 11 for 1 here at the Sharks as Wheel bowls. Length ball played back to hard by Wheel. Fields it on his follow through, not cleanly, but takes the pace off it. And that is 2 overs completed. Hampshire winning the toss, electing to bowl first. Sussex, they're 11 for 1.
Yes, they are. BBC Radio, Sussex BBC. Is it BBC Radio Solent, Kev, or just BBC Solent? BBC Radio Solent. Adrian Harms and Kevin James. You may be watching via the Sussex Cricket Club live stream. If you are, a very warm welcome. And you'll see on your pictures, it is the most glorious evening here. Lots of blue sky, floodlights on. Clearly they don't need to be, but that's the way we do things in T20. But I think Hampshire will be the happier of the 2 sides after 2 overs. It's going to be Chris Wood who's going to carry on from the C end of the ground. He's going to be bowling to the right-handed Australian Josh Philippi, and he runs in now over the wicket. Bowls. Philippi is bowled. Well, in fact, it looked to me like he played on. So 2 wickets down for Sussex in the power play. The middle stump is out of the ground. He was playing away from his body a little bit, Philippi. Looked to me like he got a big inside edge. The middle stump is out the ground. And I was talking about losing wickets in the power play and just how important that can be. Well, Sussex have lost 2 and they're 12 for 2.
Yeah, I can't quite understand that shot, because he's seen in the first over from Chris Wood that Chris Wood is swinging the ball into him. So, that's done exactly the same, and he's trying to open the face and play it into the covers. He's playing against the swing. He's kind of contributed to his own downfall there.
So now let's see who's going to come out batting here at 4, and it looks... Because good round of applause, Tom Haines, who's the Sussex 4-day captain, making a very rare appearance in T20 cricket, and I think this is his first game in T20 cricket, unless I'm very much mistaken, for the Sussex 4-day captain. He spoke to him before the season, Kevin, like so many players. He was saying he doesn't want to just be pigeonholed as a red ball player, just Tom Haines, but a real opportunity here, because he's coming in with Sussex having lost a couple of wickets early on, and a real chance here, if there is a chance in T20, to have a little bit of a look at the bowling and maybe stake a bit of a claim. As Wood, there's a slip in place now, runs away from us. He's in and bowls to Haines, who with a play and a miss, a rather tentative shot outside of the off stump, and the ball goes through a couple of ounces taken by McDermott. He's a big fella behind the stumps. I've not seen anything of Ben McDermott. I wasn't at the game at the Aegeus Bowl. And there is no run. 11 for 2 are the Sharks. Philippi and all the men out. As in comes Wood again. Bowls. And Tom Haines clips this one uppishly through mid-wicket. They'll take one, they'll think about coming back for two. In the end, it's a comfortable couple of runs out to mid-wicket, fielded out there by Tom Prest, and Tom Haines is on his way. 13 for 2 in the third over.
Yeah, he got 60, didn't he, in the game at the Aegeus, which Sussex lost in the end by 22 runs. Actually, Hampshire got 199 that night. Sussex got close, but they were always actually a long way behind. It was only Seifert that was sort of hitting it towards the end. They went off a rain, came back, that got that close.
In comes Wood, bowls, and Tom Haines drives. He needs to get an edgy boundary. Well, if you're going to thrash hard, and that's what Tom Haines did. And the ball disappears down to third man for a boundary, and the Sharks go to 17 for 2.
Yeah, you're seeing a bit more of the swing there. So he's playing the line, and then of course the ball swings away from him. That's where you've got the thick edge. But it's, I think Chris Wood's getting as much swing tonight as I've seen him get in any game this year. Normally he'll swing or straighten a couple and then it stops, but actually he's still going into the second over.
In comes Wood again, bowls to Tom Haines, who's beaten outside the off. That was a good delivery. Tom Haines pushing at that one outside of the off stump. He's beaten, the ball whistles through into the gloves of McDermott, and there is no run. 17 for 2 the Sharks. Haines on 6, Ward on 4. And now Alistair Orr without scoring. Josh Philippi, the Australian, on his way for 6. Wood, number 25 on the back of his yellow shirt, runs away for us, comes in and bowls to Tom Haines, who plays that one nicely away through backward point. There's a favourite shot of Tom Haines, that sort of late cut, and he picks up a single. He will pinch the bowling at the end of the third over, and the Sharks are 18 for 2 with Haines on 7 and Harrison Ward on 4.
Yeah, a little bit of width for that last delivery there from Chris Wood, but good to see him swinging. Good to see him playing tonight. As I say, he had a very late fitness test this evening just to see if he was okay to play. He's got bad knees, and Hampshire, of course, with all his experience, need him for the quarter-final next week as well. Whenever that will be, the draw is straight after the conclusion, I think, of the last of the games this evening. So we will find out later who Hampshire will be travelling away to. If they stay in 4th and Birmingham stay at the top, they will be going to Edgbaston, and that is next Thursday evening. It's the same night as Hampshire are hosting India in an international at the Aegeus. James Fuller then comes in from the Cromwell Road end, length ball there to Haines, plays that back to the bowler. No run.
What's that, a T? So
I think it's T20. Yeah.
Is it? Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Tony Cox at Sun Sports. I don't normally read messages out because the game's so quick, but I'll quickly read this out. I can't understand it. He says, recently we've shown how good we can be when we bat first. Today we win the toss and decide to field. Very puzzling. My guess is they're just testing themselves by batting second, because of course anything can happen when the toss of the coin goes up in the quarter-final. Here comes Fuller again, bowls, and that's driven off an inside edge, goes to McDermott, who throws the stumps down underarm. Crowd got excited, but not out, says the umpire, and the Sharks move on to 20 for 2. Is that, or is it? No, it's 19 for 2.
Tom Haines, you think about Tom on his T20 debut here, his bowls a useful medium pace as well. So, we were talking before the game about there's not much on this game in terms of the result, but little individual things here. Tom Haines will be thinking to himself, well, this is an opportunity, a chance for me to put a marker down, and I know next season's a long way away in T20, but to prove he can play this version of the game.
Yeah, well, when you've not had a great campaign, there'll be long chats during the winter as Fuller bowls full outside the off stump and can't quite reach that ward, goes through to McDermott. There'll be long chats about, right now, how are we going to play? Who's best in this position? How can we improve this position? How can we play in a way that brings them into play? And we don't really want him next year, we want him. And, so, all sorts of chat goes on. So right now, already the coaching staff at Sussex will be thinking about next year's T20 competition. So anybody that puts their hands up now, it gives them a bit of an advantage. Here's Fuller again. Bowls, leg ball, driven into the ground. Half stop by Fuller. Hurts his hand. We don't need any of that. Oh, I'll tell you what, it was hit so hard, it hit Fuller in the hand, and it still went for 4. And Fuller is still grasping his right hand, because that was hit very, very hard indeed. And Fuller got a lot of hand on that.
He did. Just making sure, you just had a pat on the back from Jay Vince. I just wondered almost if he was going to do a full circle and run off towards the pavilion. I wonder if he might have popped a finger. Did you ever do? Well, you must have done it in your career.
Look at my little fingers.
Ouch. Are they breaks or are they dislocations?
Yeah, they were both break. Well, that one's worse, isn't it? I can't straighten it. It's horrible. not great radio, but
who did that for you?
That was Gus Logie in the West Indies, would you believe? Here you go. So it's quite an exotic injury. As that's driven up to mid-off, they're going to take a quick single. Throw comes in from Dawson, misses. Good backing up from Ross Whiteley at mid-wicket, and Sussex move on to 24 for 2, 8 to Haynes, and Ward with that single moves on to 9. Yeah, so it's, and it wasn't just done on any old park pitch, pitch 7, in the middle of nowhere. It was actually done in the West Indies. I'm just trying to think exactly where. It might have been Trinidad, actually.
Right.
Toledo. So I've lived with it ever since. So every time I wake up or I look at it, I think of Gus Logie. As you do. Here comes Fuller and bowls. Length ball, driven off a thick outside edge, down towards third man, Woodfields. And Haynes moves on to 9, and it's 25 for 2 at the end of that Fuller over. 4 overs gone.
Well, the good news is that James Fuller is okay. I thought for one horrible moment he'd hurt his finger. He's still looking rather ruefully at that right hand, but I'm sure if it was broken or he suspected there was an injury, he'd have gone straight off the field. But the good news, he's okay. He's just having another look down at his hand. Perhaps it just stung a little bit, but a good start for the Hampshire Hawks, because Sussex are 25 for 2. Haynes on 9, Ward is on 5. Orr and Philippi, the men out. I've got a change of bowling, and it's going to be Tom Press who's going to come in and bowl from the sea end of the ground.
And that's interesting. He bowled an over on Friday night that went for 10. But they're looking at him again. They're using some options here and just giving the guys a bit of, a bit more experience going into that quarter-final.
Press right arm round the wicket, bowls with Tom Haynes, who comes dancing down the wicket. There's a half-hearted appeal from Press, but that was clearly missing leg stump anyway, and Tom Haynes was virtually halfway down the wicket. I think we'll do a bit of bat on that, Tom Haynes, because did he, or is that a leg by?
Must be a leg by. They're both on 9 still, yeah.
Or just surveys that leg side field. As in come Press again, bowled. Reverse hit, and he's going to be caught behind by McDermott, I think. Is he? But to come off the pad. Well, Hampshire are convinced Harrison Ward is out, and he's not been given. It was a attempted reverse sweep. The ball just... Well, it went into the air, and it sort of looped into the air.
Loop, didn't it?
McDermott took the catch. Hampshire thought he was out. Ward, to his credit, didn't go anywhere. He comes Pressed again, bowls, and this time Ward looks to hammer that one through the offside, gets it completely wrong, and plays it to mid-on where it's fielded by James Vince. And Ward picks up a single. He goes into double figures. He's on 10, and the Sharks 27 for 2.
I think Vince just asked him at mid-on there. Did you hit that? I'm sure he said something. They were within a couple of yards each other.
Preston again bowls. Tom Haynes steps away and cuts that one away to backward point. There is no run fielded there by Mason Crane, who spent some time here with Sussex on loan earlier on this season, playing in the Championship. There is no run. Press quickly in, right arm around the wicket, bowls, and hammered down the ground by Haynes. Doesn't really time it, and James Fuller just trots in from the boundary to field. Good over this.
Yeah, and as well bowled there, Prest. He actually came a fraction too early, and Prest dragged it down, bowled it much shorter.
In again, bowls, and
that's close.
Reverse sweep. That is going to be close. Reverse sweep from Harrison Ward. Hits him on the pad. Umpire White decides it's not out, and another good over as far as Hampshire are concerned, because Sussex are 28 for 2 with both Papara and Ward on 10. And we've had 5 overs. Very good power play as far as the Hawks are concerned.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, the spinners have always been difficult to get away here, isn't it? Because there's never much bounce. So to try and get underneath the ball is difficult. Cut the balls there, the Press bowled, kept a little low. You see that quite a bit here. But that's a confidence booster for Prest, who may just end up bowling an over or 2 in the quarter-final. You never know. He'll certainly be batting. He's had a good competition, a couple of half centuries from him. And we've got a change of bowling at that Cromwell Road end, because Brad Wheel is back, right arm over and bowls length ball, and that's clattered away through the offside by Haynes. A little bit too short, sat up nicely, but he put it away. No problem there, right out of the middle of the bat.
Yeah, that's his favourite shot, Tom Haynes. Anything through that point or backward point area is a really strong point for Tom. He scores a lot of championship runs there. And he was, last season, Tom Haynes was the leading run scorer in the county championship. Hasn't had quite such a good campaign this year. But that's his favourite shot.
32 for 2. Brad Wheel's first over went for 5, including the wicket. Bit of bounce there as he misses out on that. Tried to play the same shot, but that one bounced.
Yeah, that was a good delivery. I think I was too close to him to play that shot, really.
Was, yeah. fairly central here today, aren't we?
We are.
Boundary probably slightly shorter on the right-hand side.
No, I would agree with you. Yeah, towards the clock tower score, but I say it's slightly shorter, but we're not too far from the middle. The last championship match was that one you can see right in front of us. So that
just to the right.
Yeah.
That was a short boundary.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't it? To the right-hand side. Wheel comes down the hill again. It's bowls to Haynes. And length, and that's swatted away, and that's going to be one bounce for 4 through square leg. Mason Crane's a little fine there, ran round, but he was never going to get there. Nicely timed again by Haynes, who's hit a couple of nice shots either side of the wicket. And Sussex move on to 36 for 2. Haynes on to 18. I see the hospitality tents just to our right in the corner beginning to fill up nicely.
Yeah, they are. I think a few people have come in actually since the game started.
Yep.
How full the southwest corner is. Yeah, it's pretty well. There's a few, probably 2/3 full.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of blue hairy hats on.
Yeah, they are.
I thought they were going out of fashion, but they seem to have come back this year. And there's a lot of blue ones there on the right.
I'm told that flares are back in fashion, Kev, apparently.
They go well with flares, those hats. That's swatted away, and that's going to be 6 over square leg, and that's just over the hospitality marquees there. Bounces on the roof, I think. Just a little too straight and just a little too full there from Brad Wheel.
Well, it's a terrific shot by Tom Haynes, and we were just talking about, getting an opportunity and putting a marker down. Next season's campaign is a long, long way away, but
he's in for me.
Well, I think he's made up his mind. I've got nothing to lose here. Let's see what we can do. He's on to 24 off 15.
Not bad for a guy making his T20 debut this evening. Gosh. 42 for 2. Here's Wheel bowls, length ball. He gives himself some room, hits it into the ground. That hasn't come out of the middle at all, but makes its way to Chris Wood on the 45 on the offside. That'll be a single, and Haynes moves on to 25. That's come off just 16 deliveries. 43 for 2. Sussex were in the 6th over, the last ball, in fact, of the power play, as Tom Prest comes up to backward of point for Harrison Ward, who's a runnable 10. Comes at Wheel, comes into bowl now, and that's pulled away. Lovely shot, flat 6 through mid-wicket. Hits the bottom of the scoreboard to our right and bounces back nicely. And James Fuller takes the catch. Expensive over there from Brad Wheel and a good over from Sussex. They finish the power play 49 for 2, and I reckon off that over is 21.
Yes, I've got 21.
Yeah.
So not as expensive as the over from Stuart Broad in the Test match yesterday that went for 35.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
It was amazing. But a good over for the Sharks here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Solent, Adrian Harms, Kevin James. If you're watching via the Sussex live stream, a very good evening to you as well on a beautiful evening down on the south coast. Some cotton wool cloud over the downs in the distance, floodlights on, lots and lots of blue sky around. And the Sussex, having lost both openers with just 11 on the board, are fighting back as in comes Preston. Bowls to Haynes, who's down the wicket driving a lofted off drive, fielded just down in front of us. James Fuller, who slightly fumbles the ball but gets in the throw to McDermott. Tom Haynes has to be content with a single. He goes to 26. The Sharks 50 is up, 50 for 2. You can probably hear the applause around the ground. It brings Harrison Ward on strike.
They've got some momentum here, Sussex, haven't they? These two certainly have.
16 off 11 as in comes Preston Bowles. And Ward, that's big. Well, actually, maybe not as big as I thought. Is he going to be caught? He is going to be caught down below us. And that's a really good catch by Joe Weatherly. When he hit that, Harrison Ward, I thought that was going almost over our commentary box, but in fact, it went higher rather than longer. And in the end, a good catch by Weatherly, who came round the boundary at long on, kept his eye on it. That's a good piece of fielding. And Harrison Ward is on his way, and the Sharks are 50 for 3.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, as a fielder, where you're not only keeping your eye on the ball, but you're keeping half an eye on the rope, which was dangerously close to him. So well judged and well taken. Can I just say, I'm not going to mention all these individually, but I'm getting some messages to say, Kev, are you sure the quarterfinals are on Thursday? They're not all on Thursday, and if you look on various websites, there's no mention of a T20 game on Thursday. But actually, if you look at the Warwickshire Cricket website and you look at the preview match, the preview for their match tonight against Lancashire, if you scroll down a few paragraphs, you will see that it says that they will be playing, if they're at home, their home T20 quarterfinal on the Thursday. And I was told by one of their press officers yesterday, I was up in Birmingham for the Vipers game against the Central Sparks, and I was told by one of their press officers that that the game that Birmingham will host, assuming they finish in the top 2, which looks very likely and probably first, they will be playing their home quarter-final on Thursday. So look on the Warwickshire Cricket website. That will confirm what I've said. There we go.
Tom Prest, is it me?
It is.
It is. Bowls to Bopara, who's the new batsman. The Sussex captain strikes that through the offside. Nice looking shot by Ravi Bopara and brings him a couple of runs. Tom Haines has to get a little bit of a move on, chasing back to the non-strikers end, but Bopara is on his way. The 2 Sussex captains, the T20 captain and the County Championship captain, in at the minute as in comes Prest again to bowl to Bopara, and Bopara just eases that onto the leg side and picks up a single. Does Ravi Bopara? He goes to 3. The Sharks to 53 for 3.
Talking about inexperience at the top of the Sussex order, you certainly couldn't be a word that you would level at Bopara.
No.
His 425th T20 game.
Yeah, extraordinary. Yeah. In comes Preston bowls. Tom Haines just works this one through the leg side and picks up a single. Does Tom Haines? He goes to 27 off. Quite see, it's 18 deliveries, I think it is. The
Yes.
sun is shining right on that scoreboard. 54th. I think I see Mason Crane warming up on that leg side boundary. As in comes Prest again, bowls, and Bopara just eases that one to backward point. There is no run. Tom Haines are backed up rather a long way, and they're going to take an overthrow. Sussex. Throw came in from backward point, wasn't collected by Prest, and Sussex get another run, and Ravi Bopara goes to 4, and the Sharks are 55 for 3 at the end of the over, with Haines on 27, Bopara on 4.
Yeah, good start after 7 overs, but 3 wickets down may yet be a bit of a problem, although Ravi Bopara will probably work it around and just get the Sharks back on momentum. Yeah, it was Liam Dawson there with the throw, just acknowledged that as well. I think he probably thought about who was backing up after he'd let the ball go, and it was a difficult one for Prest to take.
Yeah, not been a great campaign for Ravi Bopara, in all honesty. I mean, he's averaging 21. I think he's a much better player than that. Top scorer of 54. I think probably you're expecting a bit more from someone with that much experience. He's bowled well. 11 wickets, economy rate of 7.55. So I think he's bowled well, but I think batting-wise, Sussex will have hoped for a little bit more.
Yeah, striking at 117 this season as against 120 career, so slightly down all round, isn't he? With the bat. Mason Crane back into the attack, back in the side after missing a couple of games or so. Has had sort of mixed success in this year's competition, and I don't think, without being unkind, I don't think Hampshire will mind too much tonight. Of course, the quarter-final will be the one that they really will, assuming he's selected, of course, be needed for. As that's driven by Bopara hard up towards deep mid-off. That was a full delivery there from Mason Crane. Bopara moves off onto 5 off 4 deliveries, brings Haines back in his first game, 27 off 18. What a start he's made to his T20 career.
Did Tom Alsop play much T20 cricket for Hampshire?
He played a few games.
Yeah. He's Sussex's leading scorer.
I was going to say, it's a shame he's not playing in a way. That's driven out to extra cover. That's fielded by Vince. Not cleanly, but made sure that no run was taken. Yeah, he did play quite a few. But he's done well for you, isn't he? This
He
year?
did, and he only came in the side when Harrison Ward was ill for a game or missed out with an injury, and Tom came in and did really well.
Got an ankle injury. Paris stumped down the wicket, missed that completely, and Mason Crane just threw that out wide. And Haines has gone nowhere near that as he tried to smash it away on the offside. His body weight was actually going more towards the leg. Haines goes for 27, Sussex 56 for 4.
Yeah. Well, he's played nicely, Tom Haines. I think we were disappointed with that. He was looking to play that favourite shot, cutting the ball away through backward point, but lost his balance completely, and in the end he was completely stranded in McDermott. He didn't just whip off the bails, he demolished the stumps.
Made sure.
Well, I was saying that Sussex have lost wickets rather too regularly at the top of the order, and when you look at the Sussex batting line-up tonight, Delray Rawlins coming in. He's had a decent tournament as Rawlins. Well, having said that, 197 runs, averaging 17, but he's coming in now to join Ravi Bopara. After that, George Garton, Rashid Khan, who can make runs, but then you're into will be Henry Crocombe and Steve Finn. So, I mean, they can all bat these days, can't they? But you're talking about specialist batsmen in this sort of cricket. And Sussex with 4 down in just the 8th over, up against it.
Yeah, I just watched the replay there. That looked like the googly as well from Mason Crane, so it was a little wide and it turned wider. That's why Haines was nowhere near it. 27 off 20 for him.
Yeah.
Here's Crane again then from the Cromwell Road end. Rawlins is somebody that doesn't normally hang around, although he gets the googly there and gets a thick outside edge playing a defensive shot. Goes out to Wood on the 45. 56 for 4, and we're only in the 8th over. So, yeah, regular wickets falling. Ollie Orr for no score, Philippe for 6, Ward for 16 and Haynes for 27. The men back in the pavilion as Crane bowls, gets another full delivery. Rawlins works that into the gap on the onside. He's off the mark, 57 for 4 now.
Yeah, rebuilding job here really for Sussex. Kevin, they've got plenty of time left.
This is what happens, though, isn't it? When things aren't going your way. As I say, Sussex come into this game losing 7 of the last 8. There's no real momentum there, and they're probably looking at little things, trying to tweak them, and sometimes it can make things worse. It's cut away by Bopara on the 45 on the offside, fielded by Brad Wheel. End of the over from Mason Crane.
Good over.
And that's gone for 2, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
2, yeah.
Yeah. 57 for 4, the Sussex Sharks in the sunshine at Hove. BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Solent, Adrian Harms, Kevin James. Welcome to the live stream. If you're watching at home or wherever you're watching, maybe sitting on a train or a bus, I don't know. But great to have your company. Sussex's last game in the competition this season, hoping to finish with a win. It's been they weren't trying to sugarcoat it. It's been a really disappointing T20 campaign for Sussex, but they'll be hoping to win tonight against their near neighbours. But Hampshire have started really well, and Hampshire will be very, very keen, I think, to go into these into the quarter-final, wherever that is and whenever it is, on the back of win. It's going to be Liam Dawson who's going to come into the attack from the C end of the ground. He's got 3 men saving, 1 on the offside, a short third man, a backward point and an extra cover and a mid-wicket, and then 5 men out on the fence, 3 of those on the leg side, 2 on the off. And it's going to be Dawson who's going to be bowling to the left-handed Delray Rawlins, who's on 1. As Dawson is in, bowls to Rawlins, and Rawlins is looking to paddle that one down towards fine leg. That was an adventurous shot so early in his innings. He's going to pick up a run. Let's see if it's come off the bat. Yes, it is off the bat. So Rawlins goes to 2, and the Sharks to 58 for 4. It was an adventurous shot early on.
It was, Kevin. A little bit, yeah, and didn't get hold of that at all, did he? Dawson, one of 3 Hampshire bowlers on 17 wickets that lead the wicket stakes this year's competition. Economy rate of just over 7.2, which is exactly what his economy rate is in his career. So he's doing exactly what he says on the tin.
He's coming in around the wicket to bowl. So Ravi Bopara is in and bowls, and Bopara just plays us into the covers, filled by Vince. There is no run. I remember being down at the Aegeus a couple of years ago, Kevin. We commentated with Liam when he had his foot in a boot. Had he snapped his Achilles, or?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was.
He's done really well to come back from that. Dawson in bowls. Ravi Bopara leans back and eases that through point. Picks up another single footed by Pressed way out there in the distance. Bopara goes to 6, and the Sharks 59 for 4, but we are in the 9th over. Rawlins just surveys that leg side boundary. That's a favourite shot of his, leg side or straight down the ground. Let's see what he does. In comes Dawson bowls, and has kept a little low as he looked to cut that one away through the offside. Delray Rawlins threw into the gloves at McDermott, and there is no run. I think Liam Dawson sharing a joke there with Ravi Bopara as they wandered back to his mark. Those two will have played a lot of cricket against each other down the years. Dawson again off 3 or 4 paces in and bowls, and Rawlins is just forward and nudges that backward of square on the leg side. McDermott chases back, whips off the glove. And 1 more to Rawlins. He goes to 3. Sussex 60 for 4. And needing a bit of momentum here, Sussex, in the 9th over.
Sussex have won the last 3 games here between these 2 sides.
Great stat. In comes Dawson bowls, and Bopara can only play that to James Vince. That's a good over by Liam Dawson, and over which only cost 3 runs. And the Sussex Sharks, having reached the power play 49 for 2, have only scored 11 runs in the last 3 overs.
Apologies to Sussex supporters, but Hampshire, of course, very much looking at what's happening in the North Group tonight as well as in the South Group. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But Birmingham Bears, who are top of the North Group, who Hampshire will face if they finish fourth in the group, which it looks like they will. They're playing third place Lancashire, who actually could, with a big win, finish top. Well, Birmingham Bears are 51 for 3 in the 8th. And in the South Group, Somerset taking on Surrey. That's third against first. As Crane bowls, Rawlings is trying to slog sweep that, misses that outside the off stump, and McDermott, I think, rather cheekily perhaps, asking for a call behind. Maybe just flick the pad. It was well outside off stump. 60 for 4. Somerset 82 for 2 in the 9th against Surrey. If Hampshire win big here and Surrey lose, there is a chance that Hampshire could finish third, and of course that will alter who they meet in the North Group. Rawlings sweeps away, gets that nicely, very nicely indeed, and he's fielded, but not quite enough as the ball just touches the rope. And that there is Toby Albert at deep backward square leg.
That was a good effort, that, Kevin. I'll tell you what, fielding, you know, when that ball comes down the hill, it comes very, very fast. It was very nearly. I don't know if he's got his shades on. He's got his hands up to shield his eyes from the sun as well.
Yeah, that's not easy, is it? It's very low, the sun away to our left. 64 for 4. Rawlings did get hold of that. Rawlings cuts that away, but there is a fielder out in the deep cover area. That's Ross Whiteley, throws that in left-handed, and Rawlings moves on to 8 now. And the Sharks on to 65 for 4 in the 10th over. So we'll be halfway through at the end of this over from Mason Crane. Comes in again now and bowls to Bopara. Gets the googly. Bopara works it away on the onside into the gap between mid-on and mid-wicket. They'll get 2. Very well placed there from Bopara. Knew exactly what he was doing there. Point in hitting it too hard straight to the fielder. Just push it a little softer in between the 2 and you'll double your run score. He moves on to 8 off 9, 67 for 4.
Yeah, it was nice. Just looking at that Derbyshire result today, winning their game against Durham, they've qualified. Wayne Madsen has been in extraordinary form, made 100. You know,
Did he?
Yeah. 100 not out.
Yeah, as Bopara cuts that away into the offside. That'll be fielded by Liam Dawson, who's patrolling the boundary away to our right and having the sun in his eyes for a change.
Just wonder if with Hampshire having already qualified, I wonder if they might think to themselves, well, you know, they'll go perhaps hell for leather for this if they think there's a chance of upping their run rate.
Yeah, I think, you know, you just win the game, don't you, really? But you're right, that's driven back to Crane, not timed at all by Delray Rawlings, and that ends the 10th over. So we've completed 10, and assuming that Sussex aren't bowled out, we'll have 10 more. 68 for 4, with 9 to Bopara, 8 to Rawlings, and Crane has gone for 10 off his 2 overs with 1 wicket.
Close of play in the Test match. India 125 for 3, leading England by 257 with 2 days remaining up at Edgbaston. I think the weather is set fair for the last couple of days, but India very much in pole position in the Test. It's going to be Liam Dawson who should bowl the 11th over of this Sussex innings. Hampshire winning the toss, bowling first, comes in and bowls to Bopara. Bopara drives straight down the ground, fielded just down to our left-hand side by Joe Weatherly, not before Bopara's gone through for his 10th run, 10 off 11 balls. The Sharks are 69 for 4, which brings Rawlings onto strike. I don't think we'll see Delray Rawlings hanging around here. The long off and the long on are right back on the fence as in comes Dawson. Bowls, and Bopara hammers that down the ground. He doesn't quite time it, and it's fielded down below us by James Fuller. Just one more to Rawlings, who just bangs his bat on his pad.
Yeah, he does like to put bat to ball, doesn't he?
He does.
Strikes at 142-100 this year. Over his career. He's just a couple down on that this season. Dawson
in bowls, and Bopara more than eases that down to long off. Very good bit of fielding down below us by Weatherly. A good sliding stop. Prevents anything more than pretty impressed with Hampshire's fielding tonight. That's a good bit of work by Weatherly. And the Sharks go to 71 for 4. Yeah, that's one area where you can keep up the intensity in the field, and you're right, so far so good. Dawson. Left arm over the wicket, bowls, and Rawlings looks to paddle that one away down towards what would have been third man, but he makes a bit of a mess of the shot in the end. He manages to get a single onto the leg side. He goes to 10, and the Sharks 72 for 4. Dawson just changing that leg side field slightly. He's just moving his deep mid wicket a little squarer and his long on a little wider. As he comes into bowl to Ravi Bopara, the Sussex skipper. Bopara could just swing that one away on the leg side. Well, he was completely beaten. The ball ends up in the gloves of McDermott, and there is no run.
Yeah, it's just the lack of bounce there, isn't it? Really, when you're fetching the ball outside the off stump, there, you want the ball to bounce normally. I mean, you know, as we quite often see with the spinners here, the ball doesn't bounce a lot most of the time.
Dawson in a game bowls. Bopara swings that one away. Is he going to be caught? No, he's not. It's well placed by Ravi Bopara to be there. I thought for a moment he'd pulled that straight down mid-wicket's throat, but in the end it was backward and square. One bounce over the rope. So Sussex finished the over with a welcome boundary and are 76 for 4. Ravi Bopara on 15, Delray Rawlins on 10. We've had 11 overs.
Yeah, there's no conventional backward deep square leg there, which, like you, I was probably surprised at, really. There was more of a deep mid-wicket and nobody out deep, so the shot was on and he executed that one well. So 76 for 4, and we've still got Mason Crane at the Cromwell Road end coming down the hill. 2 overs, 1 for 10 for Crane so far. Good return from him. Needs to keep that going. Bowls, and Rawlins tries to sweep that one, gets wrapped on the foot, and I think that's hurt. That might have missed the pad, and that's just probably hit him on the ankle.
Ouch.
He's rolling around.
He's rolling around. That looked nasty, actually, didn't it? I mean, he's in quite a bit discomfort. Is he getting to his feet?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, I don't know what boots he's wearing, but if it's hit the rubber, you know, the part of the boot that's around the ankle, or even missed that will hurt. And he's still struggling. He
is. He's in a lot of discomfort, is Delray Rawlins. He's not getting an awful lot of sympathy for that Hampshire.
No, he's not, is he? No. So get on with it. It's got our overrate. Get on with it. It looks like he might be all right. It'd be interesting to see how he runs over the next ball or two. As Crane comes in and bowls, Rawlins sweeps away. He's got hold of that. That's 6 low, very low. If you're watching the tennis last night, Tsitsipas, when he hit that ball into the crowd, that was the same trajectory.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and those spectators, you know, looking straight into the sun as well. So
I didn't miss them by much, and I hope it has missed somebody. Are they looking for the ball, or are they looking at somebody?
I think they're looking for the ball.
Thank goodness for that.
I hope so, because that went like a rocket.
It did.
Into that corporate box. There's a lady who's dancing over there, so I think
we're all right.
Anyone's been hurt. But I'll tell you what, that was probably fairly lucky.
I agree.
That didn't hit anybody.
Head height that was for the people sitting down.
Imagine that. I mean, I think Delray Rawlins is going to get some treatment here. You know, he's just falling off.
Yeah. He's struggling a little bit. He's just sort of hobbling up to the 2 physios that are coming on. I presume they're not both physios.
No, I think that's Archie.
Physio and their helper.
Yeah, I think Archie Lennon's come out with a drink, which Delray is taking. John the physio is just having a little natter away to him. There's no treatment been administered yet. I'm sort of assuming it hit him on the foot, Kevin. It's just...
Well, definitely.
Do you think so?
But I maybe it's not.
I wonder if it hit him somewhere extremely painful.
Where did he get that low? He would have had to have been laying down to be hit there.
Well,
but you're right, probably.
I think he was hit somewhere very painful, which is perhaps why you tend not to be too much sympathy from opposing players when you are hit in that very painful place. I think he's okay. I mean, it's a bit difficult for the physio to administer any sort of first aid, really, isn't it, when you're in the middle of the pitch?
Especially to that era.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think he's going to be okay.
I think the police would be called. 82 for 4.
Good shot though by Rawlins.
It was a super shot. Yeah, I think fortunately, everybody in that area, as you can see on the live feed, looks okay. But that was a worrying moment there with Rawlins. I mean, that was absolutely right out of the meat of the bat. He's on 16 off 13. He's okay again. He's back in the middle, and Crane is ready to bowl. Just flicks the ball from one hand to the other, just blows into his bowling hand, and there is a sweep which is in the air, but it's going to fall short of Albert, who comes in off the deep square leg boundary, and he's not running particularly well there, Rawlins.
He's not. He's in quite a bit of discomfort, isn't he?
17 off 14 Rawlins, 15 off 14 Bopara. Sussex 83 for 4. We're in the 12th over here. So Crane again just takes his time coming in again down the hill. Bowls, but was that an edge through to McDermott? He dropped it. Turned away from the outside edge and just caught the outside edge by the looks of it. Crane put his hands on his head. Maybe it only just missed the off stump by not very much, but it turned.
My initial thought was he dropped it. Certainly Crane's reaction was if he thought it had been put down.
Yeah. life there for Bopara, perhaps. Life in the pitch for Crane. As there's the googly, and that's cut away. Bopara is a little too short there. Bopara was able to watch it off the pitch. Moves on to 16 off 16 deliveries, and he's 84 for 4 with one ball left of the 12th now.
A good little spell this by Mason Crane.
Yeah. He's well, I think, if I'm honest, he's probably bowled as well in this game as I've seen him in the T20 this year. As Crane bowls, another sweep shot there from Rawlins. I think we're going to see that virtually every ball from him, especially off Crane. It's along the ground to Albert, throws it in one bounce, and that is the end of the over. And Sussex here, 85 for 4.
Yeah, 9 off the over, but bear in mind there was a 6 in there as well. So Rawlins on 18, Bopara on 16. Just looking at that northern group and thinking about Hampshire, Kevin, because Leicestershire, for people who haven't seen the news, were deducted 2 points today over disciplinary matters. They went on to beat the Yorkshire Vikings, and had they not been deducted those 2 points, I think Leicestershire would have qualified for the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So they'll be really disappointed about it. And it could well have been, would Hampshire have played? Leicestershire would have probably finished in 4th place, so probably Hampshire wouldn't have played them. But Yorkshire have qualified to the top 4 at the minute of Birmingham, Derbyshire, Lancashire and Yorkshire. So we'll wait and see, as Kevin says.
Draw after the last game tonight.
Yeah, and in terms of Derbyshire, that could be interesting, because I think they've got a concert at their ground next week, so I'm not sure that Derbyshire will be able to host a home semi. We shall see. Home quarter-final, rather.
I'm hearing they aren't.
In comes James Fuller, bowls to Rawlins, who clips that through mid-wicket and picks up a single. He's running very, very uncomfortably as Delray Rawlins. One more to the total. Rawlins goes to 19, 86 for 4. Yeah, certainly the Derbyshire lads who were down here last week for the championship match were saying there's a concert at Derby next week. I think it's a Michael Bublé concert.
Oh, how nice.
So I don't think they can host a home quarter-final. No. I was just having words to James Vince. He wants a slight change in the field. Does James Fuller, who's going to call up his fine leg, is he? Yes, he is. Is that Mason Crane who's coming up inside the circle? Either way, the long off has gone out, so Joe Weatherly is going out to long off, and the fine leg is up inside the circle.
I think it's Brad Wheel up there.
Apologies. As Fuller runs away from us, coming into bowl to Ravi Bopara, who's on 16. He's in and bowls, and Bopara drives down the ground. The ball very nearly hits the stumps, but James Vince comes running across from a wideish mid-on to field. And Bopara goes to 17. The Sharks to 87 for 4.
Again, still getting a few messages. It's not a draw as such. I mean, it's pretty clear cut, because the 4th place South team will play the top place North team.
Yes.
3rd will play the 2nd, and so on.
Fuller on his way to bowl for the left-handed Rawlins, in and bowls. Full toss. Rawlins hammers that one away through the offside. They've taken one. There ought to be 2 here, really. They're a little bit slow coming back as Delray Rawlins' throw comes in. In the end, he does get home, but he's certainly not running at full bore here as Delray Rawlins. He's a very good athlete and very quick between the wickets. But he was almost trotting back for the 2nd run. Rawlins goes to 21. The Sharks to 89 for 4.
Yeah. I mean, just going back to when he got hit, I mean, I can't believe he got that low.
Yes, yeah. But he did look in huge discomfort, but I think he did get hit somewhere very painful. Yeah. Fuller in again, bowls to Rawlins. He hammers that right, that's gone for 6. That's a big chop. All the way to the old pavilion here at Hove, the Spenkarma Pavilion, pulled away by Rawlins. Too short, really, from James Fuller. That's a favoured shot of Delray Rawlins, and he goes to 27, and the Sharks to 95 for 4.
Wow, real power in that shot, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Fast bat speed as well. No mercy shown to that delivery.
Fuller. He's all going to do it in boundaries as Delray Rawlins comes in again, bowls, and this time it's right up in the block hole, and Rawlins plays that to backward point. He's in a lot of discomfort out there. I mean, he's run that single, but he's almost hobbled the single. Yeah. But he goes to 28, 96 for 4. I mean, he's such a fine player, Delray Rawlins. I mean, I've said it so many times on commentary. He's a player, he's got so much natural ability, Kevin, and I'm not sure we've seen the best of it over the last few seasons, but if he could get some consistency to his game, he's got it all, really. He's got all the shots.
I'd like to see him run a 2 here at the moment and turn quickly.
In comes Fuller, bowls to Bopara down the ground. Is he going to be caught? No, he's not. That's a really fine shot by Ravi Bopara. It's gone all the way for 6 runs. He just leant on that Bopara. It was all in the timing. The ball over the long off boundary. Weatherly couldn't get near it. And that's a good over for the Sharks. An expensive over for Hampshire. Sussex are 102 for 4, but par on 23. Rawlins is on 28.
Yeah,
and there was 17 off the over.
That's right. Yeah, it was in the slot, but it was well hit, wasn't it? Really,
yeah.
We saw in that over, we saw some real power from Delray Rawlins over mid wicket, but we saw the ball caressed over the rope there, didn't we, from Bopara? It just shows, doesn't it? Really, if you go for placement and you play correctly. I mean, that was a correct shot. He just lifted a good length ball over mid off for 6. I mean, that was beautiful. Great to watch. Two sort of opposite ends.
No, you're quite right.
T20.
Caressed. That was exactly the right word. Beautifully played.
It certainly was. Very annoying as a bowler, but it happens. Right, Crane into his last over here of 4. Sussex 102 for 4, getting some momentum back into their innings as Crane bowls. There's another sweep shot there from Rawlins. Goes straight to Albert, who's just watching that. Doesn't pick it up cleanly, but ball was just spinning there a little bit. Well, Rawlins looks like he's just going to sweep Crane to death.
Yeah.
He's not going to do any other shot. He's just going to sweep him. 103 for 4, which was very much how Gloucestershire played him on Friday night at the Ageas. Crane went for 32 in a low-scoring game, but they targeted Crane more than they did Dawson. 103 for 4. It brings Bopara back on strike. Crane again bowls. Bopara on the back foot, steers that wide of Vince at extra cover, goes up to deep mid off, where looks like James Fuller has just bowled this end and is now fielding at the top end of the ground. 104 for 4 in the 14th.
It's just the foil, really, but I think, is that the 50 partnership? I think it is. Between these two, yeah.
Right, I'm going to say a sweep shot before he's even played it. Here comes Crane, bowls. He's not, he's done me. He's outside off stump, and he's trying to nudge that away. That was a googly, played and missed as he tried to work that on the 45. There you go, see.
He's bowled really nicely here. Mason Crane is in his final over before this. Figures are 1 for 19.
Bowled a lot on the side of the pitch before the game. He did that on Friday night as well. Bowled for ages. Here comes a Crane, bowls. He's tried to sweep that, gets wrapped on the pad, and he's gone. I think he might be bowled, or is he? Is it not? I can't see if the bails are there, but he looks like it looks very much he's LBW. Definitely LBW. He's tried. I think he was going to sweep it, realised it was too full, tried to change his mind. It was too late, far too late. Well bowled Mason Crane, because he knows that even though Rawlins didn't sweep him the previous delivery, because of what he's been doing in the last 2 or 3 overs, he was going to go for it there, and that's really well played. And because Rawlins is still in pain, it's going to take him absolute age to get off.
Well, it is, and actually Delray Rawlins will be a key part of the Sussex bowling attack as well. He's making his way off, and he's also, together with George Garton, they are the best 2 Sussex fielders in the side as well. So he's going to need a bit of treatment, I think, is Delray Rawlins as he makes his way off. But we said how well Mason Crane has bowled, and just to make the point, really, very, very nice bit of bowling.
It certainly was. It'd be interesting to see whether Rawlins comes out and do the. He's still not off the pitch.
No.
He's not off the field yet. Where's the JCB? Taxi for Rawlins.
Ouch. Yeah.
We need to dig him off. Got to dig him out. Get him off. He's just about made it to the dugout.
I reckon he'll go straight up the steps of some treatment.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be coming out to field. I'll be very, very surprised. So George Garton, who strikes it pretty nicely, 134 per 100. That's up there.
Yeah, he's played very little cricket this season, George. He's been suffering with long COVID, we think, is what the problem has been. He's spoken about it.
Left-hander faces Crane. He's cutting that away. That's a googly as well, and he had to reach for that one in the end. So it goes up to wide mid-off. Throw will come in, and that'll be just a single. He's off the mark straight away. Tom Preston is at the top end of the ground on the left. James Fuller at the top end of the ground on the right. The Cromwell Road end. 105 for 5, last ball of the 14th over coming up as Crane bowls to Bopara. Bopara drives pleasantly out into the covers where Liam Dawson fields in front of the scoreboard away to our right. And that is the end of Mason Crane's 4 overs. And there's a pretty good return. 2 for 23 from 4. Welcome back to form there, Mason Crane. A timely welcome back with the quarter-final looming next week. And Sussex 106 for 5 after 14.
Yeah, would he be an automatic pick for that for the quarter-final?
Well, they want to pick him. I mean, this is the thing, you see. You know, he is, even though he hasn't been bowling particularly well all season, He's only played the one championship game for Hampshire. I know he played a couple for you guys on loan, but you know, he doesn't tend to play a lot of 4-day cricket, but they'll play him if needs must. But even in the T20, which he is an automatic pick, he almost was what he was. He was bowling himself out of the side because he was a little bit too unpredictable. But he's starting, but surely to string some games together.
In comes Liam Dawson to Bopara, crashes that one away on the offside. He just takes a single, does Ravi Bopara. He goes to 26, and the Sharks to 107 for 5. And this is the 15th. They've difficult to gauge this pitch tonight. I mean, I agree with you. One or two have kept a little low. I mean, generally speaking, here, if you're 160, 170, you're really in the game here. So Sussex will know they need a few more than this. Dawson in bowl, switch it by George Garton, out to for the switch it deep mid wicket, but it would have been cover for the left-hander. Garton goes to 2, and the Sharks to 108 for 5.
Got hold of that.
Yeah, he did.
Cool. And very quickly out to Crane.
Comes Dawson again, bowls, and Bopara plays it through the offside, just a single though, fielded out on the cover boundary out there by Ross Whiteley. One more to depart for Bopara, but I think Hampshire will be happy here just to concede the singles. 3 singles off the first 3 balls of the over. The Sharks 109 for 5. 5 overs remaining after this. Dawson over the wicket, bowls to Garton, who's down the wicket driving, and that's going to be 6 runs, is it? Yes, it is 6 runs. Pretty short boundaries down the ground here at Hove. George Garton took a step down the wicket and drove the ball over long on for 6 runs. I just thought for a moment that Joe Weatherly might get there, but it was over his head. Garton picks up a welcome boundary for the Sharks. He goes to 8, and Sussex to 115 for 5.
Yeah, you're right about the short boundaries. I mean, that wasn't out the middle of the bat. No, it was enough, but only just.
Dawson in his 3rd over comes in again, bowls to Garton, who again doesn't really time that. You can probably hear the sound of ball off the bottom of the bat, but he picks up a single down to long on, footed by Weatherly. Garton goes to 9, the Sharks to 116 for 5 here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Solent, Adrian Harms and Kevin James. Then comes Dawson again, bowls, and Bopara. That's gone many a long mile. That's gone right over mid-wicket, sailing into the flats. And there's a big blow by Ravi Bopara. That was as clean as a whistle. Picked the ball up just from outside the off stump and pulled the ball over mid-wicket. And that's a big 6 from Bopara. Takes him to 33. And the Sharks to 122 for 5.
Yeah, the experience of Ravi Bopara. Sussex got onto a decent start, weren't they? 50 for 2 in the 7th when Harrison Ward went. He was just like Haynes. They were both positive, and then they lost those early wickets, 56 for 4. But Bopara just pushed the ball into the gaps. Now you feel he's just starting to move through 1 or 2 gears as we get towards the Sussex innings. That's experience for you.
Was that 16 off the over? I think it was. There were 2 6s in that over, weren't there? Yes.
Yes, it was. Yeah. 17 off Fuller's over a couple of overs ago, and a big over of 21 off Wheel in the 6th to finish off the power play.
We've still got he's got a couple of overs up his sleeve from Chris Wood. His 2 overs only cost 13, and he picked up a wicket as well. Who's this coming on? Is it?
This is Fuller again, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, from the Cromwell Road end.
Fuller's 2 overs cost 24 so far. 2 wickets for Mason Crane, mentioned earlier, 2 for 23 off 4. He's the only bowler so far for Hampshire who have bowled out. Dawson's still got 1 over left. He's bowled 3 for 27. Here's Fuller coming down the hill and bowls, and it's outside the off stump, and Garton swings and misses as it goes through to Ben McDermott. Chris Wood's still got a couple of overs left, 1 for 13. Brad Wheel's got a couple left, 1 for 26. And Preston's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 8. Not sure we'll see him again, but that's tidy figures from the off spinner.
Yeah. He stepped away there, George Garton did. That was the reason it wasn't signalled as a wide.
Yeah. First time the sun's disappeared this evening. There's a big cloud to our left, so I think it might disappear for a little while. Oh, actually, no, it's a bit further around to the left, actually. There's a big cloud, but a little bit further over the pavilion, actually, but that's not in play. Garnes comes across his stumps and swings away hard on the leg side. That's 6. And again, that's hit the roof those hospitality tents away to our right on square.
Well, that was premeditated by George Garton, wasn't it? I mean, he just, as you say, he stepped miles away to the offside. It was short from James Fuller. And he just heaved the ball away over sort of backward square leg for 6 runs. Big blow from George Garton.
Yeah, it's too short on this pitch.
Yeah.
You know, there's no real pace in this pitch, no real bounce. He's got a little bit of extra bounce because of his pace. Makes it a little easier for Garton. 15 off 6 for the left-hander. He's got to get it right full up now as Fuller bowls. It's a length ball and driven up to mid-off, not timed, but they'll get a single. Garton moves on to 16. That's come off 7. And Sussex on to 29 for 5, halfway through the 16th. Keeping an eye on those other games from a Hampshire point of view. Sorry, Sussex people, but needs must. 101 for 4 in the 14th. Birmingham Bears, who lead the North Group at the moment, playing against third place Lancashire Lightning. Somerset in third. Hampshire could theoretically overtake them, but it would need a big win, and Somerset to lose badly against Surrey. 175 for 2 in the 15th, as it's worked on the onside by Ravi Bopara. There should be 2 here as press comes in off the deep mid-on boundary. Comfortable 2 in the end. Throw comes into the bowler. Crowd encouraging the batters to run hard and push Sussex into a decent total here. What did you say earlier about 160?
Well,
right here, 170?
I think 160, 170 is something you feel you can defend, but I think much less than that and you're struggling.
Yeah, Hampshire could defend 154 for 7 last year. In fact, struggled with Sussex winning by 9 wickets, winning in the 17th, so that'll give you an idea. Here's Fuller bowls, length ball, and it's hit away by Bopara, and it's going to be caught on the deep mid-wicket boundary. It's Ross Whiteley who takes a chest-high catch, and Bopara's not going. He's well inside the boundary rope. I can see it from here. Bopara doesn't want to go. I think he's just checking. He's probably disappointed a little bit with the way he's got it, because he's flicked that away. Hasn't really tried to hit it too hard. Maybe he's just a little bit disappointed the way he's played that. Nevertheless, he's out, and it's 131 now for 6.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big wicket for Hampshire, because you feel with Bopara and Garton really going nicely. Looking who's Rashid Khan will be the next man in, who hasn't had the great. I mean, he's only been here for a few games, Rashid Khan, to be fair. I'm just seeing how many runs he's scored. Rashid. Yeah, he's only averaging 5. He's a better player than that. This is his 6th match. He's only scored 22 runs, but we know he's a fine T20 player. But I think Ravi Bopara would just be disappointed, because Sussex were just starting to turn the screw a little bit.
Yeah. The thing is about Rashid Khan is he might be not scoring many runs at the moment, but he strikes at 145.
Yeah, he does.
Per 100, which actually is the highest of any player playing in this game this evening.
Yeah, and he hasn't come off so far in the competition. This is his last game. A shame with Rashid Khan, again with international commitments. He was away with Afghanistan, and Sussex haven't seen him until almost it was too late in the competition.
Won the IPL with the Gujarat Titans.
Yeah, he's terrific. With the Afghan fans who come to watch, down at Cardiff in particular, he was just one in every autograph, every selfie. Really? He was, a great ambassador. Really, really good.
Here's Fuller then. Comes in and bowls to the right-hander. Plays and misses outside the off stump. Bit of extra bounce there to Fuller. Nice length ball. Nice carry through to McDermott. 131 for 6. We've got 4 to do.
Well, a good response, wasn't it, from James Fuller, really? I mean, he was pulled for a huge 6 by George Garton, but in the end, the over only going for 9. The important wicket of Ravi Bopara. So 131 for 6. Sussex will need a few more than that, I think. As Khan and Garton have a little natter in the middle of the pitch now. I wonder what James Vince is going to do from here. Is Chris Wood going to perhaps bowl? But he's got 2 overs left to bowl, so presumably he'll bowl the 2 up the hill here, Kevin.
I would have thought so, yeah, unless he gets hit this over. But, again, Chris Wood, with all his experience, being involved in Hampshire's later stages in this competition, very experienced bowler at the death. Economy rate of just over 8s in his career. This is 159th match.
Well, Hampshire have got 4 fielders inside the circle, all on the offside. And so they're very happy to give the single to George Garton on the leg side. Let's see what happens. Wood running away from us around the wicket, comes in and bowls to Garton, who pulls that way onto the leg side. Is he going to be caught down at fine leg? No, he's not. The ball just bounces in front of the fielder, who comes running in there from fine leg. He's a long way away down there. I'm not sure who that is. But it's a single to George Garton. He goes to 17, and the Sharks are 132 for 6.
Yeah, that's interesting, that field, isn't it? They don't bowl a bouncer there, or attempted bouncer. Probably, again, you're just trying to outthink the batter, really, trying to think, what is he not expecting? And maybe Garton there, getting the top edge, wasn't quite expecting.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a more orthodox field for Rashid Khan, who, as Kevin was saying, is a fine striker of the ball. We haven't seen too much of that in this campaign from Rashid Khan. I wonder whether this might be his night. Sussex could do with a few quick runs. As in comes Wood, over the wicket, bowls to Khan, who almost scoops that onto the leg side. That was a curious shot, wasn't it? Fielded at mid-wicket by Mason Crane.
He looked like he was going to get low and play a cross-batted shot no matter what was bowled, but a foolish ball outside off stump. I think he's done well to get it even there.
Yeah, I agree. Here's someone talking rather loudly down below us, and that corporate area is just getting picked up in our effects microphone, so apologies for that. As in comes Wood, around the wicket, bowls, and got with a switch hit, effective as well. Down to fine leg for 4 runs, or down to third man for the left-hander for 4 runs. Inventive from George, he goes to 21 off 9 deliveries, and the Sharks are 137 for 6.
And he's done well there. Wood's gone for the Yorker, hasn't quite got it full enough. Just allowed Garton to get his bat on the bounce. Flick through the line, hit that really nicely.
Yeah.
Still kept the 45 up on the offside throw. I'm just wondering, Vince is just saying, you sure? Do you want that? Wood saying, yep.
He's got his 4 men saving one on the offside, as in comes Wood and bowls, and got with a play and a miss outside the offside. That was good bowling by Chris Wood, just slanting it across the left-hander. George Garton looks heavenward, as if saying, I should have done better with that. But it's a dot ball, 137 for 6, Garton on 21. Yeah, he picked up COVID a couple of times, George, and has been quite unwell with it. He was talking about the problems of feeling just totally lethargic and problems with heart rate, that sort of thing. Happily playing tonight, as in comes Wood, bowls to George Garton, hammers that away, and that's gone many a mile. Well, that's a huge blow, and that's gone out of the ground. In fact, the fielder there, Joe Weatherly, is just standing with his hands over his mouth. I'm not sure if that's hit someone, No, I think everything is okay. It was drilled away down the ground. You have to watch the ball here at Hove. You do really have to have your wits about you, and that's a big blow by George Garton. He goes to 27 off 11. The ball is back, so no harm done. And the Sharks 143 for 6.
Yeah, the blue hats like that away to our left. I think just a slower ball there from Chris Wood. Unfortunately for him, it was right in the slot. Sometimes you get away with that bowling slower balls, but Garton seemed to pick that up, no problem. 12
off the over. Garton waits. Wood is in, bowls, and Garton's at it again, and this time, he gets a fortunate 4 runs. What happens in T20 cricket, he was looking to repeat the shot of the previous delivery, but he gets a big, thick outside edge, and the ball runs away down to third man for another boundary. So a productive over for the Sharks. Garton goes to 31. The Sharks 147 for 6, with 3 overs remaining, and there were 16 off the over.
There's been some big overs, hasn't there, really? That big over there, over number 17, 16, over number 15 went for 16, that was James Fuller. Over number 13 went for 17, again that was James Fuller. And over number 6 went for 21, that was Brad Wheel. So there's been some big ones which have helped Sussex in their quest to get a good total here this evening. So we've got at the top end Brad Wheel. Not surprised to see Brad Wheel here. If they're going to bowl Yorkers, they've got to get it right in the right area, because Garton seems to be Garton's got a method of digging those Yorkers out. He's on 31 off 12. What a cameo from him.
Just what Sussex needed, really.
Yeah. But it's Rashid Khan, who is no mean hitter himself. We may find out yet in this over, as Wheel comes in and bowls to Khan. Khan drives through extra cover. Good diving stop there from James Vince. Otherwise, that was 4 runs.
Lovely bit of fielding. They ran really quickly to his left-hand side. Beautifully struck by Rashid Khan. Proper cricket shot as well.
Yeah, 148 for 6 at the start of the 18th. There's 1 or 2 Hampshire people here, I know, in the corporate boxes just to our left in the corner. The chief exec is here this evening. There's a few seagulls flying around in front of us as Wheel comes in and bowls. Garton swings away hard out in the covers, and Ross Whiteley does really well there. Just sort of smothered the ball there, got his body behind it, because it was hit low and hard out to deep cover.
Really good bit of fielding, wasn't it?
Garton moves on to 32 off 13. Hampshire need to get rid of him, otherwise Sussex are going to get into the 180s, even 190s here, the way he's playing.
He's coming right out the middle of Garton's bat at the moment.
As long as he's suffering from COVID out there at the moment. There's Wheel bowls, length ball, the slower ball, and Khan tries to swing away and misses it. Good bowling there from Brad Wheel. Don't often see him bowl slower balls. That was one. Khan deceived by that one.
Yeah, excellent delivery, wasn't it? When he was through the shot before the ball had arrived.
My thoughts are inevitably turning to food as we get towards the break. What are you going to do? Because the food was served just as this game was.
Oh, I know. I hope they've got
I'll tell you what, you should go and I'll hold things at the break. Here's that Wheel bowl, slower ball again, full, driven by Khan up towards deep mid-off. That was another good ball. Good two-ball combination there from Brad Wheel. The 150 up for the home side.
Yeah.
The loss of 6.
I think that's been a decent recovery from Sussex. At one stage were 54 for 4.
Yeah.
But the middle order have kind of come to the rescue, really.
Yeah.
Rawlins, Papara, George Garton.
Yeah, Papara 35 off 25. Top scorer so far, maybe overtaken by Garton as he faces the next delivery from Wheel. Length ball, Garton hits it hard up to mid-off. That's a good stop there from Tom Prest. Fielded that on the half volley to a low, flat shot. That was a difficult take. Did well.
Really
Garton
well.
moves on to 33 off 14.
That was a really good bit of finish. It's one of those you're thinking, do I go for it? Don't I go for it? But in the end, he stopped it, which was the main thing. Just the single.
Yeah. I mentioned Bopara there. Rawlins 29 of 22, hobbled off after getting hit painfully. Here comes earlier in his innings as Khan just plays that quietly on the onside. A little bit of a tangle there between Wheel and Garton. Garton setting off for 2, and the throw comes in. I think Garton might have struggled as Press came in from deep mid on, but it misses the stumps. And 2 runs are taken at the end of that Brad Wheel over. So that is 18 gone, 12 balls effectively left of the Sussex innings, and they're 153 for 6. There was 6 runs off that. So the context of previous couple of overs or so, that's not a bad over from a Hampshire point of view, and perhaps Garton probably needs to face the strike a lot more in these last couple of overs.
No, I'd agree with that, Kevin. I think, if Sussex could eke 25 out of these couple of overs, that'll give them 178. Now that's a good score. It could be in for a very good game of cricket.
Yes.
God, he's just surveying that leg side. Let's see what field James Vince sets here with Chris Wood. Still got those 4 men saving one on the offside. As in comes Wood, bowls to Garton, and Garton with a plan to miss outside the offside. I think that's good bowling by Wood.
Garton's down on one knee there, trying to heave away on the offside. Gosh, he almost knocked himself off balance.
He did. I can see where the noise is coming. They've got some sort of corporate hospitality just down here underneath where our effects microphone
That's
is.
unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, we're picking up a little bit of that, so apologies if that's. As in comes Wood and bowls, and Garton, he's off his feet, but he's going to get 4 runs down towards third man. Well, he was trying to push it wide, it was Chris Wood, and George Garton went after it. He lost his balance completely and sort of heaved the ball off a big outside edge down to third man for a boundary.
I'm just thinking, why has he got a fine leg? He's bowling full, off stump and just outside. Why has he got a fine leg? Why doesn't he drop the third man down or the one at backward point out, so that shots like that are going to be 1, maybe 2 at most? But for me, the fine leg's out of play at the moment, but Wood's going to switch to over the wicket, which actually might bring fine leg back in play.
157 for 6. In comes Wood over the wicket, bowls gone down the wicket, and he was going to get caught, I suspect, by keeper McDermott, who does take it comfortably. Yeah, he was. Well, that was probably what was required. It was a slightly different line and a different angle from Chris Wood, and George Garton down the wicket looking to heave the ball away. Big top edge caught by McDermott, but a good innings from George Garton. 37 off 18 for the Sharks, are just what Sussex needed at that time. And now we should get a terrific ovation for Will Beer, who's coming out to make his final appearance for Sussex. Batting wise, it is, I'm sure he'll bowl later on today, but let's hope he gets a good ovation. I hope people have realised it is his last game. Here we are. There we go. The applause for George Garton. That's That's a really nice ovation for Will Beer, who's hugely popular here at Hove. Hasn't got a contract. It was only a one-year contract he had this season, and it hasn't going to be extended for next year. So this is Will Beer's last innings in T20 cricket for Sussex. And he's going to be facing Chris Wood. 157 for 7. As in comes Wood. Over the wicket, bowls, and a play and a miss, and it's given us a wide.
Very wide.
Yeah. The total goes up to 158 for 7, so still 3 balls remaining in this over. The penultimate over of the Sussex innings. Chris Wood wanders back to his mark, literally down in front of us. Turns and runs away from us, coming into bowl to Will Beer. He's in and bowls, and Beer clips that one on the leg side. He's going to get runs here, just a single to deep square leg. Beer is on his way. 159 for 7. Lot depending here on Rashid Khan now, Kevin. And I think actually that Hampshire will be quite pleased the way these last couple of overs have gone.
Well, yeah, Garton getting out is a big bonus, because he looked as though he'd really mastered the conditions and the bowling out there. Very, very dangerous innings indeed. Khan, we know with his career, strikes well, but he looks a little bit off the pace at the moment.
No, he has. He has been throughout the campaign. In comes Wood, bowls to Khan, who pulls this away, but is he going to get caught? No, he's not. It's just 4 runs, though. Oh, do you think it went for 6? Well, fair play to the fielder there, because I didn't think that had gone for 6. I thought it had bounced just inside, but it was James Fuller and Mason Crane who, between them, signalled 6 runs. So top marks to Mason Crane for giving that as a 6. Pulled away by Rashid Khan. He goes to 11, and the Sharks to 165 for 7.
I knew as I said that he hadn't mastered things, that he'll get one away.
One more ball to go in this, the penultimate over, as in comes Wood and bowls, and hammered away is on the offside, and that's gone for a couple of runs. Good bit of fielding out there by Ross Whiteley, who gets in the throw. 2 more to Rashid Khan. That's into Chris Wood's over, and the Sharks are 167 for 7. Rashid Khan is on 13. Will Beer is on 1. And we've got 1 over to go.
Yeah, 14 off that. Not a bad over at all. Very wide, that last one. In fact, Khan did well to reach that. Not out of the middle. That's why it didn't go for 6. Seemed to be a good strike, and that's really well fielded by Ross Whiteley. The ball looked like it was going to evade him. The rope was coming into play as well. Did very well to keep that down to just 2. Last over then to be bowled by Brad Wheel, whose 3 overs have cost 32 so far. Picked up the first wicket of Olior for no score. It was in the second over, 1 for 7 then Sussex. Here's Wheel then, comes in and bowls to Will Beer. It's that over, extra cover, it's in the air. No, he's going to be caught by Fuller. Does well. That's right in the sun. James Fuller's got his cap on, that was most important. Beer didn't quite have the strength on that one as it went out in the air and the covers, and that's a really good catch from James Fuller. It doesn't look a particularly good catch if you're just looking at it from an isolated wicket point of view, but when you look to your left and you see how low the sun is and what he had to contend with, that is a very, very good catch. 167 for 8.
It was a good catch, and I was saying a bit earlier on, I've been really impressed with Hampshire's fielding here tonight. Will Beer gets a good ovation as he makes his way off. We'll see him bowling. I'm fairly certain about that. But he's never had an ovation like that, Will Beer. He said he scored one, but he'll... He's been a terrific servant for Sussex, and I'm sure we'll see him bowling. So the new man in is Henry Crocombe.
20 years old, playing just his 9th T20 game. So another one of the inexperienced Sussex players in this game. There's a few others making up for that. There's notably Bopara over 400, as I mentioned earlier. Here comes that Wheel, bowls to Crocombe. That's a low full toss, hits it up towards deep mid-on. They're jogging through for a single, not putting the fielder at the top end. Tom pressed under pressure at all. 168 for 8.
Well, it's important that Crocombe just got Rashid Khan on strike. Khan's got 4 more balls to... I mean, such a sort of a total they could defend. Anything from here on in will be a nice bonus, I think.
Yeah. You're in that sort of ballpark now, aren't you, of a game, that's for sure. Here's Wheel comes in and bowls, so Khan swings that away. That didn't sound very good either, but it goes quickly out to mid-wicket. Ross Whiteley picks it up quickly, throws it in, can't quite throw accurately. He was off balance, but that's 2 runs.
Great bit of fielding.
Was. He's good out on the boundary. He has been all season for Hampshire. 170 for 8. 3 balls left of this Sussex innings. 170 for 8, as I mentioned. But it's Khan back on strike, who's starting to get into his stride. 15 off 9. Here's his next delivery, bowled by Wheel. That's swatted away deep mid-wicket. Whiteley's not going to get there. Almost. Great dive. He was mid-air, horizontal, flung out his right hand just a few inches off the turf. I think he got a good hand on that. He did. But the momentum of the ball, the momentum of him. Did that go for?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he might have palmed it over the ropes, but it was a brilliant effort, Kevin. I mean, that would have been, running down the hill here at Hove, which he was, sort of goalkeeper style. That would have been one of the catches of the season.
That was, 6 runs to Rashid Khan, 21 off 10. Another little cameo towards the end. Here's Wheel, bowls, swings that away, misses, and just falls short of Albert on the 45. I think he might have got an inside edge onto his hand there, or onto his arm. I think he's just waving his arm around. That's his bowling arm.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so, a little edge onto the arm, which took the pace off it, fortunately for him, so it didn't quite reach Albert on the 45, and we have 1 more ball left. 176 for 8. Obviously the beers are flowing in that little corporate box where the FX microphone is. Here's Wheel, then bowls, length ball, it's swatted away up in the air, backward of square on the leg side. It's going to bounce once, it goes over the boundary, so it's 4 runs to finish off the Sussex innings, and they finish on 180 for 8. Rashid Khan 25 off 12.
Well, a terrific finish as far as Sussex are concerned, and Rashid Khan very much instrumental in that. He hasn't really hit his straps with his batting in the tournament so far, the 6 games that he's run, but I think he's given Sussex, this is something that, they'll feel they can defend here at Hove. I think it could be in for a really good game here, Kevin. I mean, it's, as we know here, the boundaries at Hove are not the longest. I thought the pitch played better as the game went on, to be honest with you.
Me too, didn't it, really?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll nip off and I need to do splits anyway, and I'll be back with you shortly, Kevin.
180 for 8. Now, in the context of a decent score here at Sussex, if you just go back in the last 3 games here between these 3 sides, last year Hampshire hit 154 for 7, lost by 9 wickets, with Sussex scoring the runs in the 17th over, so that was never enough. 2 years ago here, Hampshire batted first, 176 for 5, but that wasn't enough, with Sussex getting home by 6 wickets with a ball to spare. And 3 years ago here, Sussex 188 for 6. Hampshire couldn't get there. They were 14 runs short at 174 all out. So this looks to be a pretty decent total here of 180. Let's just give you the card, and then I'll go through the other games that have taken or are taking place this evening. We know that, in the end, George Garton was the top scorer for Sussex, 37 of 17 deliveries with 3 4s and 3 6s. Also into the 30s, Ravi Bopara, 35 off 25 with 2 6s and a 4. And then Rashid Khan at the end there, 25 off 12, 25 not out, and with 1 4 and 2 6s. The bowling figures for Hampshire this evening: Chris Wood, 4 overs, 2 for 43. Brad Wheel, 4 overs, 2 for 45. James Fuller, 3 overs, 1 for 33. Tom Prest with his off-spin, 2 overs, 1 for 8. You probably ask why you didn't see him again. A little bit difficult sometimes to bowl the spinner towards the end, but maybe Hampshire could have tried. Mason Crane is getting better, slowly but surely, starting to string some form together on a match-by-match basis. 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 23. Picked up the wickets of Tom Haynes, stumped by McDermott, and also Delray Rawlings, LBW. For 29, and Liam Dawson, 3 overs, no maidens, none for 27. So that's where we are here at Hove. 180 for 8. Shortly, Hampshire will come out needing 181 for victory. But just to stress, from a Hampshire point of view, it doesn't matter what happens tonight. They have already qualified for the quarter-final. So if you're just joining us and you're not quite sure the situation, where we are with these last games now now in the group stages. Hampshire already assured of an away tie in the quarterfinals, and that draw will be made at the conclusion of the final game taking place this evening. In fact, we have three other games going on this evening. There was already some games this afternoon in the North Group. The Derbyshire Falcons beat Durham by 5 wickets. Leicestershire, who were deducted 2 points earlier this afternoon, there was going to be a winner-takes-all for Leicestershire in terms of getting into the top 4, but the 2 points they were deducted for a multiple situation of incidents with their players and falling foul of codes and what have you. So they're out of it, but they did beat the Yorkshire Vikings by 60 runs, and Worcestershire Rapids playing against the Notts Outlaws. Well, it was the Outlaws that came up trumps there. A win by 5 wickets. In the South Group this afternoon, Gloucestershire beat Middlesex by 5 wickets, chasing 163. And in the games going on this evening in the North Group, it's first versus third with Birmingham at Lancashire, and the Birmingham Bears coming towards the end of their 20 overs, 166 for 6 there, with 3 balls left in their innings. And Adam Hose, top scorer there with 49. Run out by Phil Salt, throw from Phil Salt, formerly of this parish, of course. He's a top scorer, so just a few balls left there. I think there's a £50 Amazon voucher up for grabs, I think I read. There's a competition going on just to our left. Other delivery companies and people with massive warehouses up and down the country available, of course. And also in the South Group this evening, Glamorgan playing Kent. Glamorgan 176 for 5. That's coming towards the end of the 20 overs. Both those sides are out of contention. And first versus third with Surrey against Somerset. Somerset have just completed their 20 overs, and I think that game's down in Taunton. Another big scoring night down in Taunton, with Somerset 218 for 8 off their full allocation. And Will Smeed 98 opening the batting. That came off just 51 deliveries. Tom Abel, the captain, with 70 off 36. Riley Russo, formerly of Hampshire, missing out this evening, scoring just 4. There is a scenario that if Somerset, well, I think they've probably got enough runs now, so I don't think it matters even if they are beaten, that if Hampshire won well this evening, they might just claim third place, but that doesn't look as though that's going to happen. So the situation in the tables going into tonight's games, because they've already been updated from this afternoon's, is that the Birmingham Bears currently lead the North Group with 18 points, and they are ahead of Derbyshire on run rate, who also have 18 points. Lancashire in third, they have 16, and Yorkshire have the 4th spot there. That was already decided after what happened with Leicestershire. They have 15. They have a better run rate than the Notts Outlaws. So at the moment, with Hampshire in 4th, just to repeat, it looks very much as though they will be going to the Birmingham Bears, the way things stand. And if Somerset stay in 3rd, although of course that could change if they beat Surrey this evening, they will go above Essex. But at the moment, if the table stays as it is, Somerset in 3rd will go to 2nd place Derbyshire Falcons. And the top 2 in the South Group at the moment, Surrey and Essex, they will go to Yorkshire and Lancashire respectively, but that could change by the end of the evening.
So, the Sussex players are out on the outfield doing some warming up. The Hampshire players will be with us shortly, just to bring you up to date with the Test match up at Edgbaston, the end of day So we'll have to see what happens if Hampshire win this game, where they finish in the Southern Group, and what that means in quarter-finals. As far as Sussex are concerned, it's all about pride after a really disappointing campaign. As Kevin was saying, they've lost 8 of their last 9 matches in the T20 Blast this season. Sorry, 7 out of the last 8. And they'll be very keen to finish with a victory here in front of their home supporters. It's going to be George Garton who's going to get things underway for the Sharks. He's going to be bowling to James Vince from the C end of the ground. It means, for those of you who don't know Hove, he's running up the hill. It's bowling to James Vince. 7 men inside the circle, 2 men out. The 2 men outside the circle are a deep mid-wicket and a sweeper on the cover boundary. The sun is out, the floodlights are on. Lots of blue sky above Hove, and it's going to be George Garton who's going to get things underway for the Sussex Sharks, bowling to the Hawk skipper James Vince, who waits at the far end of the ground as in comes Garton running in over the wicket. Bowls. Oh, that's a full. Well, it was over waist high, and that's going to be a free hit, and I'd imagine it might be a warning, actually. Let's just wait for the signal. It's been signalled. Now, is that going to be signalled as a free hit? I think it ought to be. Let's just wait for the umpire's signal. Yes, it was a full toss. It was over waist high. And that's going to be a free hit. So, a no ball to start things off for Sussex. And a free hit for James Vince. As in comes Garton and bowls and down the leg side. And that's going to be signalled a wide. Taken by Josh Philippi. So we haven't so far had a legitimate ball for Sussex in this innings. A no ball and a wide, and the free hit will still be in place, I'm fairly certain, for James Vince. Yes, it is indeed a free hit, signalled there by the umpire. As in comes Garton again, over the wicket, bowls, and that's wide outside the off stump. It's clattered away by James Vince, just for a single out to the sweeper on the cover boundary. He rather got away with that, did George Garton. James Vince, I think, is just looking at where that ball was and saying that was probably a wide if he'd let it go. Nonetheless, the Hawks are 4 without loss after just one legitimate delivery of this Hampshire reply, and Ben McDermott is taking strike at the far end. Garton on his way, running away from us, number 15 on the back of his blue shirt. He's in and bowls, and McDermott plays this to mid-off, fielded by Ravi Bopara, who shies at the stumps, but McDermott is safely home, backed up by Will Beer. And McDermott is also on his way. The Hawks 5 without loss, needing 181 to win. The required run rate is 9 and over. George Garton wheels around just down in front of us on the edge of the 30-yard circle and runs away up the hill to bowl to James Vince. He's in and bowls, and Vince he gets a thick outside edge. The ball's going to run away down towards the third man. Is it going to go for 4 runs? Yes, it is. He was looking to clip that one away over on the leg side. Was James Vince, a big thick outside edge, and the ball ballooned away over backward point and raced away for 4 runs down towards the players' pavilion. Not where Vince intended, but he won't worry about that. He goes to 5, and the Hawks to 9 without loss in this opening over. Now there is a change in the field, and there are 2 fielders now on that leg side boundary. There's a deep square leg and a wideish deep mid-wicket as in comes Garton, bowls to Vince, who chops this one off an inside edge, fielded by Stephen Finn on the edge of the circle finally. Again, that wasn't quite where James Vince intended that to go. And it's a dot ball. Hampshire remain 9 without loss in this, the first over, needing 181 to win after Sussex made 180 for 8. Garton top scoring with 37. He's on his way to bowl to James Vince, who's 5 not out off 4 deliveries. In comes Garton, bowls, and Vince up on his toes, and there's that 2 backward point, fielded there by Harrison Ward, and there is no run. Still 1 ball to go in this over. We've had a no ball and a wide, 2 dot balls and a boundary, all action in this opening over.
It's a long one, isn't it?
It is a long one.
I love that shot of Vince's. How hard did that go down to the third man when he was looking to whip that away through mid-wicket?
Yes,
amazing shot. Top run scorer in the tournament this year, coming into this game, 557.
Wow. In comes Garton, over the wicket, bowls, and Vince hammers that away to deep square leg, fielded there by Alistair Orr, who gets in the throw, but not before James Vince goes through for a single. So the Hawks are up with the run rate. They're 10 without loss at the end of the opening over. James Vince is on 6, Ben McDermott is on 1.
Yeah, Chris Lynn of Northants, 516 going into these last day of fixtures. That's the top 2 batters in the competition so far. That may change, of course, by the end of this evening, but James Vince having another good year. 200s already in the group stages. And quite incredible to think that with the England one-day squads, certainly the T20 squads announced this week, that Vince, who played in all 5 matches in the T20 series in the Caribbean last January, and even ended that series with a 50, doesn't even make it this time around. Must be some good players in that squad. Delray Rawlings then, with his left arm spin from the Cromwell Road end, is going to be bowling to the Hampshire captain, who has 6 off 6. McDermott has 1 off 1. Rawlings bowls short, pull, hammered away by Vince, and that is 1 bounce for 4. Away to our left, far too short. Just stood up there from Rawlings. I can only think that is a loosener, or maybe he's still suffering some ill effects from his batting, where he got hit, where you don't want to be hit as a batter, and he really struggled. But in fact, he struggled that when he was out, it took an absolute age for him to walk off. Bowls again. Vince gives himself some room. Edges down towards third man. That's running down the hill, and it's got enough pace to take it past Stephen Finn and rolls into the boundary. You probably heard his studs there, just to our right. We want to get in the way of those. We want to get in the way of him there running over the rope. It's 18 without loss now, Hampshire, in the second over. Another 163. Rawlings fires that in on leg stump, and that's hit up towards mid-on, and that'll be a single. Vince moves on to 15, 19 without loss, these two. And you'll remember back in the game of which Hampshire won earlier on in this competition, Vincent McDermott put on 124 for the first wicket at the Aegeus Bowl. Gives himself some room there, McDermott hammers it into the ground more than anything, and Rawlings picks the ball up on his follow through as it goes back at a nice height to do so. 19 without loss. Comes in the game, Rawlings bowls, McDermott works that full delivery up towards mid on for a single. He's on 2. 20 without loss here, Hampshire, in or coming towards the end of the second. Shadows starting to come across the ground here, left to right as we look. Vince plays and misses, trying to give himself some room, and that hasn't missed leg stump by very much. And that's a good take there by Josh Philippe behind the stumps. And that's 2 overs gone. Hampshire 20 without loss, and after 2 overs, Sussex had 11.
Yeah, live cricket here, BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Solent. Kevin James and Adrian Harms on a lovely evening on the south coast. Floodlights on, lots of blue sky above the ground, and Henry Crocombe is going to bowl the next over for Sussex from the C end of the ground. He's going to be bowling to Ben McDermott, who is 2 not out. James Vince on 15. Ravi Bopara just setting the field with Henry Crocombe. He's going to have his 2 fielders on the leg side now. I can see that Ollie Carter is on the field for Sussex, so someone who started the game for Sussex is not on the field. I think it might be Tom Haynes. No, Tom Haynes is down in his blows. He's at mid-on. In comes Crocombe, in and bowls, and well, that's a terrific shot by McDermott. Well, he's just pulled that one away. That was an extraordinary shot. Would you describe that as a ramp?
It's a ramp shot that's gone for 6 and gone into the stands. Unbelievable.
I mean, that's ended up going over fine leg for 6 runs. Well, he's of no mean pace, is Henry Crocombe, and he just picked that up, McDermott, and just, well, extraordinary ball, just flew away for 6 runs. What a shot, 26 without loss.
He does that a lot, sort of helps the ball a lot on the leg side.
Well, Ravi Bopara and George Garton immediately came up to Henry Crocombe, and I think they're just offering some advice as to maybe where the field should go. Now, I think what they're going to do, they're going to put Finn back at fine leg. They're bringing out the fielder who's at cowl corner. Ollie Carter is coming inside the circle, and Ali Orr's going a little wider at square leg. As in comes Crocombe, and McDermott this time plays that to backward point. They think about a single, but it isn't there. Fielded there by Will Beer, and there is no runs. I'm just trying to see who's off the field here for Sussex. Maybe it's So where Rawlins gone? I can't see where Del Rey is.
He's at backward point.
Oh, sorry, yeah, there he is. Maybe it's Harrison Ward who's not on. Anyway, Ollie Carter is on the field. As in comes Crocombe bowls and played straight down the ground by McDermott to mid-off, fielded there by Ravi Bopara. And there is one more to the total. 27 without loss, Hampshire, going along very nicely in this power play. Crucially, haven't lost any wickets. That's what Sussex did do. They lost wickets early on in their innings, at one stage 54 for 4, and indebted really to the middle order, who got them out of a bit of a problem. Posting 180 as in comes Crocombe bowls and hammered away by James. Almost with contempt, that shot played by James Vince. Wasn't too much wrong with the ball, to be honest, from Henry Croker, but it was in the slot, and Vince just tucked inside the line and helped the ball over mid-on, and the ball just raced away for 4 runs. In fact, Tom Haynes retrieves the ball just down below. It's a lovely shot there by James Vince. Kevin was saying he's the leading run scorer in the competition, and he's in a rich vein of form. He's on 19. The Hawks 31 without loss. Crocombe in again, bowls, hammered away by Vince. When you watch him play like this is 4 runs, and it makes you wonder how on earth he isn't in the England reckoning, really. I mean, that's just a gorgeous shot, wide outside the off stump, and he's just thumped that away through the covers for 4 runs. Beautifully played. He goes to 23 and Hampshire 35 without loss.
Surrey 5 for 2. Replied to Somerset's 218 for 8. Surrey top, Somerset third. Just mentioned that.
One more ball to go in the over. 15 off this over so far. In comes Crocombe, bowls to Vince, and this time he gets a single to deep mid-wicket, fielder up there by Alistair Orr. Henry Crocombe will be pleased that he managed to get out of the over with just a single off the final ball. 36 without loss. Vince on 24, McDermott on 9. I must admit, it escaped my attention, Kevin, that James Vince wasn't involved around the England one-day squad. I mean, this is just looking from afar, really, as an independent. I don't know, just... I would have thought he should be, shouldn't he? I mean, it just seems extraordinary. He seems to be one of these players who comes in and out the side. Just looks too good a player not to be involved, to be honest.
I know. I think it's difficult. You know, when Hampshire people watch him week in and week out, you think, really, really, especially when he's in very, very good form, which he is. You just think, okay, fair enough. There must be hell of a batters in that squad for him not to be involved. He's facing Rawlings, gives himself some room, cracks that away over extra cover, 1 bounce ball. Never in any doubt from the moment that he stepped away on the leg side, the ball was just short of a leg. It was saying to me, hit me.
Yeah, exhibition shot really, wasn't it? I mean, he just had all the time in the world.
40 without loss. Vincent McDermott off quickly, and this is almost like putting a fielder where the ball's gone, because there's now a deep cover as Vince gets a foolish delivery, hits it to Rawlings. I'm not sure if it was a catch. Now Rawlings has got a sore hand to go with a sore whatever it is that he was hit when he was batting.
I thought for a minute, the way Rawlings started to wander off, I wonder whether he might have hurt a finger badly. But it looks like he's okay. My at first thought, it looked like a chance, but it was going like a rocket.
It was, yeah. Rawlings is in some pain.
Yeah, some serious pain. He's had a bad night, hasn't he, Del Rey?
God.
Poor old Del Rey.
Where's he going to get hit next? There's a little reverse sweep there from McDermott. Half shout from Rawlings. It was almost as if his hand was too painful to put up in the air and shout properly to the umpire. He's
made a signal towards the dressing room there, Del Rey Rawlings.
41 without loss. It's McDermott on strike. Rawlings bowls. Fired away. He hit in the air. He's going to get it over the infield just, or is he? Ooh. Oh, he's dropped and he's pushed it over the rope at backward a point. He was almost there.
Yeah. That'd have been a hell of a catch.
It's not Will Beer, is it?
It is Will Beer. Yeah. It was coming over his shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What a catch that would have been to sort of finish his career down here at Hove, but it was a wonderful effort. 135
T20 matches for Will Beer, which comes to an end tonight in his 136th, and that would have been a great way to sign off. And that's before he's even come on and bowled his leg spin. Here's Rawlings, bowls, McDermott pulls that away, misses it, gets sorted. In fact, he's got it fine. I think that's off a thin inside edge. That's going to be 4 runs. No, it's 4 leg byes. And that's more runs here. 45 without loss. Hampshire started magnificently here, and we're only in the 4th over.
Well, absolutely, and it's always difficult. Rashid Khan was chasing the ball down. Once it's past the infield here, Kevin, it's very difficult
down
to
the
stop.
hill, yeah. 49 without loss. The scoreboard can't keep up. Fired on the leg side, and that's wrapped McDermott on the pads. It goes out quickly on the offside. Beers in quickly. That's the end of the over. You're right. Rawlins is running off, actually, so he's not quite as bad as he was when Sussex were batting. 49 without loss, 4 gone.
So I think that's Harrison Ward who's come out onto the field, but I think with Rawlins going off, is someone else going to have to come back on? Let's see. Ollie Carter is staying on the field, so Sussex have got a full complement of Delroy Rawlins is he going straight up the pavilion steps? Let's just wait. Yeah, there he goes. So I'm not sure there he is. We'll have to wait and see what the diagnosis is on that. But Sussex having to bowl Rashid Khan early on here, and I think that's as a result of the way Hampshire have attacked this target, Kevin.
Yeah, well, this guy's a very, very dangerous bowler indeed. And I haven't seen a lot of him, if I'm honest, but the bits I see of him now, you think he's a leg spinner, but he actually bowls more googlies more than anything. And I think that's where a lot of his success comes. I think a lot of batters have it in their head to play him as a leg spinner with the ball turning away, but actually the majority of his deliveries are the ones that turn in. Am I right, Andrew?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. I mean, I sit here and I think sometimes the keepers aren't really quite sure what he's bowling, to be honest. In comes Rashid Khan over the wicket, comes in and bowls to Vince, who pulls that one away onto the leg side. It's ended up at sort of short, fine leg, a combination of Ali Orr and Steve Finn. But it's a single to James Vince. The half century up for Hampshire, 50 without loss in the 5th. I think James Vince and Rashid Khan, they'd know each other through international cricket.
They do, but I think they also know. I'll come back to that.
In comes Khan, bowls to McDermott, who plays it onto the onside. There is no run.
I always get. I know I've not seen him very often, but I get the impression that he does play on the edge a little bit at times. And I think there he was almost getting in Vince's face straight away.
Interesting. Khan comes in, bowls to McDermott, he's in, and McDermott looks to heave that one away on the leg side. He picks up a single fielded by Ollie Carter, who comes running in from deep mid-wicket to field.
You've seen him T20 campaigns for Sussex. I mean, I've only seen him in the game or two that he's played against Hampshire, but I just get the feeling that he does try and wind people up.
Interesting. In comes Khan, bowls, and Vince looks to pull this one away. It's fielded, a good bit of fielding actually by Alistair Orr on the edge of the 30-yard circle. He's a bit cross with himself there is James Vince, and he's just looking again at that leg side fence.
Looks like playing across the line is the order of the day here at the moment.
Khan in again, bowls, and Vince down the wicket and just eases that one through the mid-wicket gap. James Vince goes to 31 off 18. Hampshire 52 without loss. And I think a lot of time in T20 cricket, sides are quite happy just to work Rashid Khan around and think, well, he's only got 4 overs. We'll have to get the runs off the other 16. In comes Khan again, bowls, and McDermott pulls this one away onto the leg side. Again finds Ollie Carter, who's on the deep mid-wicket boundary. So 4 runs coming off that over. Importantly, as far as Hampshire are concerned, they haven't lost a wicket. 5 overs gone. The Hawks are 53 without loss. Vince is on 31. McDermott is on 15. And if you just joined us, very warm welcome. Live cricket here on BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Solent. Adrian Harms and Kevin James. And it looks like Steve Finn is going to bowl the final over of the power play from the Cromwell Road end.
Hampshire going at just over 10 and over at the moment, requiring from here 8.5, so they're way up on the rate. 181 for victory. Remember, there's nothing on the game for either of these two sides. Hampshire already in the quarterfinals. Sussex, I'm afraid, miss out for this season, but plenty of pride to play out there, and this has been pretty intense out there this evening. I've got a feeling that that Rashid Khan's bowling is going to stay intense as well. And standards, of course, it's all about standards and reputations and everything that goes with that. So Stephen Finn, right arm quick bowler, formerly of Middlesex and England, comes in down the hill. Bowls to McDermott, gets a full delivery. That's well bowled there, Stephen Finn, and McDermott just guides that away on the onside. Could do no more than that. And McDermott moves on to 16 off 14, and Hampshire are 54 without loss, needing another 127.
He's taken 14 wickets so far in the competition, Steve Finn. Best of 3 for 29. Relatively expensive though, Colin Rep 9.21.
It's up there, isn't it? Is he bowling big overs? Is he bowling at the death?
I'll answer that in a minute.
Here comes Finn, bowls to Vince, length ball. Vince just works that away behind square on the leg side. That'll only be a single. Vince moves on to 32, 55.
Yeah, not in every game. I mean, he did bowl down at the death at Glamorgan, a game where Glamorgan he didn't, and in fact he bowled the penultimate over and went for 19, a game that Glamorgan won. So he has bowled in at different parts in different games. I mean, in the main, I think he's had a reasonable he's just had 1 or 2 overs that have gone for a lot, like that one for 19.
I mean, if you're bowling in the power play and you're bowling in the death, half or more than that, then you understand the economy rate. Otherwise, in the middle, that's a lot, isn't it? McDermott doesn't hit that at all when it comes off the toe of the bat coming down the wicket, and it goes out towards extra cover. He looks at the bottom of the bat. He's a little bit disappointed there that he didn't get full value. Mid on and mid off are up. That's what he's aiming for. He's aiming to hit all the one over the top. But he got a little too early on that.
Yes.
McDermott 16 off 15, rather playing second fiddle at the moment to James Vince, who's 32 off 19. Vince is at the non-striker's end, but it's McDermott facing again. Here comes Fit, comes in and bowls. That's cut away, and that's 1 bounce for 4. Hard over the infield. A little bit too short there for Finn, and once you step away on this pitch, because it's not particularly quick, it just looks as though the ball's sitting there waiting to be hit.
I think he made up his mind then, Ben McDermott, that was going to go.
22 needed. Hampshire 59 without loss. Twice these two have put on 100 plus opening partnerships, and on both occasions they were Hampshire's record opening partnerships, and they're halfway there already. As Finn bowls, length ball, and McDermott hits it up to mid-off, but Para's quite deep. They'll come through for a single, and it's 60 without loss coming towards the end of the power play.
Yeah, Obed McCoy, who came in to the Sussex sort of halfway through, he played 5 matches. I mean, he was actually the best bowler in the competition for Sussex. He took 14 wickets in those 5 games. Best of 5 for 33 at Taunton against Somerset. I noticed he's playing for the West Indies today, actually, in a one-day.
Is he?
Yeah.
He was a good bowler, didn't he? There's Finn. Low full toss, flicked away by Vince. Nobody back with a square on the leg side. The ball's running too quickly, and he's got it wrong there, Finn. Went for the Yorker, overdid it. And Vince moves on to 36 off 20. Hampshire 64 without loss at the end of that power play. I'll let Adrian tell you where Sussex were at the end of 6.
At the end of 6, Sussex were 49 for 2. So Hampshire ahead. They'll be disappointed with that delivery by Steve Finn. I mean, down the leg side, he's got his fine leg up inside the circle, and James Vince just needed to get something on that. Now, Ravi Bopara is coming on to bowl.
Good move.
Yeah, and he's bowled well throughout the competition, Bopara. He's picked up 11 wickets at an economy rate of 7.55. Bowling his mixture of medium paces.
I like watching this guy bowl. He's got, for a medium pace, a bit like Benny Howe.
Yes.
Has about 3 or 4 paces of delivery. Not a lot of difference between all 4 of them, but just enough.
Yep. No, absolutely. He just sort of hides the ball, doesn't he, as he runs in. Here we are, look, he's got his hand covering the ball as he runs away from us. Bowls to McDermott, who plays that one through the covers, picks up a single to the sweeper on the cover boundary, who's George Garton. They'll come back for the second, though. Needs to get a move on here as the throw comes in. That was good running by McDermott, actually, because George Garton had a long way to go. He's sweeping on that cover boundary. Together with Delray Rawlins, they would be the best fielders in this Sussex side, but in fact, Delray Rawlins is back on, which is good news for Sussex.
That's good, yeah. Economy rate of 7.5 in this year's competition, and that is consistent because that is his career as well.
But he's bowled well. Beginning of the competition, he didn't bowl very much, but coming in again, bowls, and McDermott skies that. He's going to get more runs here. This time it'll just be the single because George Garton comes running in from the cover boundary. He looked to play that one straight down the ground, big outside edge. The ball looped away over the covers.
Just got into that too quickly, McDermott. Again, it's that subtle changes of pace.
24 off 19 for Ben McDermott. Hawks 67 without loss. James Vince, very much the in-form man. He's on 36 off 20 deliveries because he will be a warming up at backward point, so he might be able to get some leg spin. In the next over, in comes Bopara, bowls to Vince. That's wide outside the off stump, and it's given as a wide. And rightly so. A bit of cat and mouse going on there, I think, Kevin.
It's great. He's even slower than he normally is, Ravi Bopara, these days. I mean, what is he? He's 37 years of age, but he's trying to bowl a little cutter there, isn't he? And then even slower, but just didn't quite come out right.
Para. Lights starting to take effect in and bowls, and looking to play that down the leg side. Well, from this angle, it looked very much that was probably going down the leg side. As James Vince was looking to tuck that way down towards Stephen. He's just surveying that leg side field. There's just the one fielder inside the 30-yard circle on the leg side, and that is Steve Finn. 3 men guarding the leg side boundary. As Papara turns in front of us. 68 without loss. Good start from Hampshire. As Papara is in and bowls. That short pulled away by James Vince, but straight to the fielder, who's a deep backward square. That's Alistair Raw, who gets in the throw. Vince goes to 37 of 22. And the Hawks 69 without loss in this, the 7th over. 2 balls remaining of this over.
You can just tell the batters can't quite set themselves against him. Very watchful when that ball's coming down.
You're right.
They've got a long time to watch it.
Yeah, they have. We had on this over so far. 4 off the over so far from Ravi Papara.
I mean, at this pace, so many bowlers disappear at the ground bowling this pace, but very clever.
A few seagulls starting to arrive and just wheeling around the ground as in comes Papara over the wicket. Bowls, and McDermott just clips that one onto the leg side, picks up a comfortable single footed by Rawlins, who comes trotting into field, gets in the throw on the bounce to Josh Philippi. 1 more to the total. McDermott to 25. So Hampshire needing to score here at 8.4 and over. They're currently way ahead. If you look on Duckworth-Lewis, which won't come into effect tonight, but Duckworth-Lewis is 48, which will just give you an idea of how well Hampshire are going in this pursuit of 181 to win this game. In comes Papara over the wicket, bowls, and Vince hammers that one away through backward point. That's a glorious shot. I think George Garton's going to get to that, and George Garton is like a hare across the ground. No chance at all. Bit too wide from Papara, who stands there with his hands on his hips. Great finish to the over as far as James Vince is concerned. He goes to 41, and Hampshire are 51 for 4 after 7. And Sussex really needing a wicket here.
Yeah, they're in the stride, both these batters. And we've seen that 2 or 3 times this season. When both of them go together, it's very difficult to stop them. Quite a lot of the group games, actually, one of them has got out early, and it's usually been Ben McDermott. A lot of single-figure scores for Ben McDermott this year, but has put together some useful scores in between. And there's the applause for Will Beer, playing his 136th T20 and final game for Sussex anyway. May yet pop up on the county circuit next year. He could
do a good job for somebody, Will Beer.
Well, 7.5 and over his economy rate for a leg spinner's not bad from that Cromwell Road end, and that's worked on the onside by McDermott. Vince has run the first one quickly. McDermott knows there's only a single as it goes out towards deep mid-wicket. Hampshire move on to 75 without loss, needing another 106 from here at the start of the 8th. I think Beer's another one of those that bowls leg spin, but there's a lot of googlies in there, isn't there? He's another one that's a bit like Rashid Khan. Not technically a leg spinner, although they do bowl that as well. And Vince is on the back foot, steers that to extra cover. Good diving stop there with Ravi Papara, just with his right hand.
I think it's been a lucky Will Beer. I think, when you get someone like Rashid Khan comes into the side, inevitably you get pushed out of it, and I think that hasn't helped Will in terms of the amount of appearances he's made.
And Archie Lenham, of course.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Who played in this fixture last year and picked up wickets as Vince pushes that away square on the offside. Looks as though he wasn't quite sure which way that was going off the pitch. 3 for 14 Lenham here last year as a 16-year-old.
He got a wicket with his first ball, didn't he?
Did he?
Pulled out to deep mid-wicket.
So Will Beer then comes in again. 3 balls of his first over completed. There's the next, and that's short, and it's cut away by Vince off the back foot. Goes out towards deep cover, all along the ground. And Vince moves on to 42. That's come off just 26 deliveries. Hampshire 76 without loss. 2 balls left of the 8th over here as the shadows are right across the playing surface now, and won't be long before the sun disappears over the horizon on our left. Here comes Beer again. McDermott's down the leg side. Good take there from Philippe, but it's a wide. And McDermott facing. Those two opened the batting together, actually, in a couple of white ball games for Australia in the West Indies last year. At this time last year, actually.
Great spot.
In July. There's McDermott down on one knee and sweeps that away hard behind square on the leg side. That'll be 4.
Good shot. Shame that for Will Beer, because it'd been a good over up until then. but just too short, wasn't it? And with, you get your fine leg up inside the circle, that's almost a free hit, really.
So 81 without loss, coming towards the end of the 8th, and Hampshire going along very nicely. Need exactly 100 from here. Remember, Sussex scoring 180 for 8 off their 20 overs. Is Will Beer again and bowls, and that's come back a fraction, and it's hit into the ground by McDermott, fielded by Para, extra cover, and that's the end of the over. So 7 runs off Will Beer's first over.
Yeah, Sussex in desperate need of a wicket, really, because you look at the 100 needed off of 12 overs, and Vincent McDermott just quite happy to pick up the 1s and the 2s. No need to do anything untoward. James Vince on 42, then McDermott on 30.
I think this is a good combination for Sussex here at the moment. Bo Para on at one end and Beer on at the other. There's just a fraction more watchfulness about these two in their batting at the moment.
Certainly Steve Finn and Henry Crocombe relatively expensive. In comes Bopara over the wicket, bowls, pulled away, that's going to go for 4 runs. So just erring down the leg side was Ravi Bopara, and James Vince is just in terrific form, and just steered the ball wide of fine leg, didn't need to hammer that. He goes to 46. Lovely shot from the Hampshire skipper, and Hampshire to 85 without loss. Vince 46 off 27, just looks in terrific nick.
Yeah, he doesn't miss out on much at the moment, not in the format that he's in. But Bopara, whilst he's got all these tricks, he's still got to get the ball in the right areas.
Yeah, he's got his fine leg up inside the circle, and Steve Finn had no chance. Bopara in again, bowls to Vince, and Vince eases that one wide of extra cover. They pick up 1 as Ollie Carter comes running in from long off to field. Gets in the I'm trying to work out who's off the field for Sussex, because Carter is still on. Rawlins is still on, so someone is off at the moment. Could be Harrison Ward. Either way, Hampshire in a commanding position. Need to score 8.1 and over. Currently going along at 10.3 as in comes Bopara. Switch hit by McDermott, but the ball goes through to Josh Philippi, who whips off the bails. Another nice bit of keeping by the Australian. A dot ball, 5 off the over so far. McDermott 30 off 24 deliveries. He waits as Bopara from the end of the ground, running up the hill. In and bowls, and McDermott is just on the pad. That looks tight, and he's given out. And Bopara gets the breakthrough for Sussex, and Ben McDermott is on his way for 30 of 25 deliveries. And the Hawks lose their first wicket, 86 for 1. McDermott on his way for 30, and from here it looked like he was swinging across the line. Ben McDermott, and well, we're not wicket to wicket, so we can't exactly tell, but it did look a good shout by Ravi Bopara, upheld by the umpire, and Hampshire lose their first wicket. Yeah,
it's not going over the top, that's for sure. He's getting very little bounce out there, Ravi Bopara, certainly because of the pace that he's bowling. He's keeping quite low, so anything that's hitting in front of the stumps is going on to hit. He's gone for the slog sweep there, McDermott. Just got it wrong.
So new batsman is Tom Prest, who makes his way out. Well, Kevin was saying he thought it was a good combination with Bopara and Beer bowling in tandem. We'll see whether Will Beer bowls a second over, which you'd have thought he probably would do. Rashid Khan has still got 3 to bowl. For Sussex, well, Henry Crocombe, just the 1 over went for 16. Steve Finn over went for 11. George Garton's 1 over went for 10. So it's been the slower bowlers. Actually, bowled best in the game, to be honest. Yeah, but because of the lack of bounce, really, and the lack of pace. But I mean, I think Crocombe looks a good bowler. I mean, he gets bounce, he gets pace, but on this, it actually came on nicely. Yeah. So Bopara bowled to Tom Prest. He's in and bowls, and Prest drives to the offside, picks up a single, followed by George Garton in the shadows in front of the Sven Karma pavilion.
The who?
Sven Karma. Over on the left-hand side, he left a huge legacy to Sussex many years ago. Bopara wheels round. The sun has almost entirely disappeared from the ground. Now the floodlight's really taking effect. Bopara just moving Rashid Khan slightly deeper with extra cover right on the edge of the circle. As Bopara in again, bowls, and Vince just with a flick of the wrists turns this through. Mid-wicket picks up a single, fielded there by Delray Rawlins. That's the end of Ravi Bopara's over, an over which cost 7 runs, but a wicket of Ben McDermott, and at the end of the 9th over, Hampshire are 88 for 1, Vince on 48, Prest on 1.
Yeah, see, having gone for 6 and over in the power play, the last 2 overs have gone for 14. So there was, with Bopara and Beer on, just slightly brought the run rate back. And of course, with McDermott and Vince going along so nicely, they didn't want to be slowing up. And that combination did account for McDermott, who went for quite an ambitious shot playing across the line in that last over. Rashid Khan is switching ends to the Cromwell Road end, the far end. His first over at this near end, the C end, 1 over none for 4. How I'd love to be on the beach right now. The sun just about disappearing over the horizon to our left. That'd be nice on the beach watching that. Instead, we're watching some cricket, which is pretty good. That's pushed away by Vince on a length ball out towards deep mid-wicket. And Vince moves on to 49 now, and that has come off just 30 deliveries.
Again, that's quite interesting you mentioned about, I think Rashid Khan and James Vince having words there, There was certainly something said as James Vince ran down the wicket. I mean, it's impossible for us to tell from here whether it's friendly or otherwise, but there's certainly a conversation between the two. I think we can certainly say that, Kevin.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that a little bit. He's got a slip in, Rashid Khan, for Tom Prest, trying to impose himself on the youngster. Comes in now and bowls. There's a reverse sweep there from Prest. Doesn't quite get hold of it, but called through by Vince. Goes out towards backward point. And Prest is at the non-striker's end. Total moves on to 90 for 1. Rashid Khan against Vince. This could be a good little contest here as Khan comes in and bowls Vince off the back foot, strokes that into the covers, and that's his half century. And that has come off 31 deliveries, with Hampshire moving on to 91 for 1.
Well, it's been a terrific innings by James Vince. I mean, he just hasn't looked at any trouble at all. He's batted absolutely beautifully.
5th time he's passed the half-century mark in this year's competition with 200s. Here's Khan, bowls. There's a reverse sweep there from Preston. I'm not sure if he was dropped at slip, but it was certainly a good stop by, is that Will Beer?
Yes, it is Will Beer. Yeah, he's in the action, isn't he, on his final appearance.
Sussex trying to get him into the game and give something to the crowd for actually to roar about, because he only picked up 1 run when he batted. So he's yet to... he's got a small box of bowl anyway. Prest cuts that away back with a point. Hits that fiercely. Slightly too short there from Khan. 95 for 1. Good shot from the 19-year-old there. Moves on to 6.
Beautiful shot, wasn't it?
That was. Yeah. It was onto that very, very quickly. Picked up the length very quickly indeed. There is a deep cover, but that was far too fine for him. 95 for 1 then in the 10th, last ball of the 10th. Prest slug sweeps over mid-wicket, and that is got over the rope. Just over the rope. I think that's George Garton out there at deep mid-wicket, who came in a couple of bases thinking that he hadn't quite got hold of it. Prest got hold of it more than he thought, and it cleared the rope by a good 7 or 8 yards. And Rashid Khan getting a little bit of treatment there as Hampshire go over the 100 mark. 101 for 1. From here, need another 80 off 10 overs.
Well, 13 off that over from Rashid Khan. Hampshire in a great position. I mean, it always gives a guy Duckworth Lewis. Duckworth Lewis is 83, but George Garton, as I say, he and Rawlins are the best fielders for Sussex, and that was over George's head at deep mid-wicket. Brave shot, good shot though by Tom Prest. As in comes Bopara in his 3rd over, comes in and bowls to James Vince right up in the block hole, and Vince is just forward, places straight back down the track, and there is no run. No need here for Hampshire to take too many risks.
No, they've done the hard work, haven't they, really?
Yep.
I mean, there's still a lot to do, of course, because a wicket or two changes things. It changes things massively, but at the moment, you have to say that they're favourites to win this.
Bopara away from us to bowl to James Vince. 50 off 31 deliveries in and bowls, and Vince carves that one away through the offside. In fact, good bit of fielding by George Garton, who's very quickly round sweeping on that cover boundary and gets into that. It was good work by George Garton, chasing the ball down the hill. So just a single to James Vince. He goes to 51 off 32. Hawks to 102 for 1.
Even better from Garton because it's on his wrong side, his right-hand side.
Yeah, he's very quick. Really good to see him sort of back in the fray. He's missed a lot of this competition this season and has played very little cricket. As Bopara is coming into bowl to Tom Prest, who's 12 off 5, including a big 6 off Rashid Khan. He's halfway in and aborts his run-up. Does that Ravi Bopara? I don't know whether he sort of lost his run-up somewhere along the line. But he wanders back to his mark. The floodlights really starting to take effect here on a lovely evening in Hove. Bopara still waiting. Now he's on his way. Running away from us. England bowls to Press. That's a full toss, and Press eases that down the ground to long on. A bit lucky to get away with that, Ravi Bopara, to be honest. In fact, they're going to come back for the second. There's a misfield down in front of us by Tom Haynes. Bopara looks annoyed. And Press picks up another 2. He goes to 14 off 6.
It's not some great cricket all round, really, was it? Full toss, Press didn't hit it properly, and then a misfield down at deep mid-on.
Yeah. 4 for 1. It didn't please the skipper. Bopara in again, bowls, and Press just eases that one down to short third man, fielded there by Henry Crocombe. One more to the total. Press to 15 off 7, 105 for 1 of the Hawks, needing another 76 to win in 9 overs and 2 balls, needing to score 8.1 and over. And if Sussex are going to get themselves back into this, they need wickets, because otherwise Hampshire could win this quite comfortably. Bopara in, bowls to Vince, who just eases that to backward point. They need to get a move on here, but the throw comes in from backward point, fielded there by Will Bear. But in the end, good running between these two. Press very quickly going through for the single. It was backward or square. It was his call. Ravi Bopara is signalling that he wants Tom Haynes to go a little wider here at long on. We've had off the over, 3, 4, 5 off the over so far. Bopara in, bowls to Press short, pulled away by Prest and straight to Alior at deep backward square. So just the single to Tom Prest. He won't worry too much about that. He goes to 16 off 8. And Hampshire are 107 for 1 at the end of the 11th over. So they want 74 to win in 9 overs.
Keeping an eye on third versus first in the South Group, with Somerset taking on Surrey. Somerset finished 218 for 8 off their 20. Surrey recovering a little now after losing a couple of wickets early on. 91 for 3 in the 10th, where they needed another 128 from just over 10 overs. It looks very much the way things are, unless the run rates shift significantly, that Hampshire are going to finish in their predicted fourth spot, which they've started in today anyway. But it needed a big swing between them and third place Somerset for Hampshire to claim third place, including Somerset losing the game.
It's Chris Jordan batting at number 5 for Sussex in that game. 45 not out, unusual. 45 in 20 balls.
Wow.
Well, if Surrey are, sort of mixing things up a bit with having qualified.
Here's Crocombe then from the Cromwell Road end, short bouncer down the leg side, and that's signalled wide. I quite like this guy. I think in a 4-day game he'd be interesting.
Well, he's, as I say, he's only 20. He's played quite a lot of 4-day cricket, Henry Crocombe, and there's a sort of a clutch of young Sussex quick bowlers, and he's the quickest of them. He's
got more bounce out of this pitch than anybody. Crocombe comes in again from that Cromwell Road end and bowls to Prest, full. Prest works that away on the leg side. There'll only be a single there as it goes down towards deep mid-wicket. Garton Fields, 109 for 1. Hampshire just generally have just eased off a fraction in the last few overs. They really did get away to a very, very powerful start. 64 in the first 6 overs between McDermott and Vince. That kept going for about another over or so, and then Sussex have just pulled it back a little bit, but I think Hampshire have got themselves in a good base in which to attack from here on in. 72 they need at the start of the 12th. Crocombe comes in and bowls to Vince. Vince drives on the up through extra cover. There's the James Vince shot. White ball, red ball, yellow top, white top. It's the same, isn't it? It's an extra cover drive on the up.
Well, that's a shot that's not out of place in a test match, is it? It might be a T20 game, but that was a beautiful shot, wasn't it? Everything was absolutely right about that.
Not even a half volley. Crocombe will feel a little bit disappointed. But, for me, it's because he's getting a little bit of extra pace out of this pitch, which has got not very much, and getting a bit of bounce out of this pitch, which is not very much, which actually, in a way, is making him easier to hit. Comes in again and bowls. Vince just touches that very fine down towards third man, and that's gone for 4. The diving fielder in front of us, Stephen Finn, couldn't quite there. He's an orthodox third man, but so late, and with the extra pace of Crocombe and the hill, just beat the outset dive of Finn. 117 for 1. Vince moves on to 60.
Yeah, beautifully played, was it? What your thoughts on Henry Crocombe's action here? You haven't seen very little of him if at all, but I think he's got a nice action, Henry Crocombe.
Very tall, very upright. That's
yeah.
where he gets the bounce from. As I say, on a wicket that helps him a little bit more. Could be interesting outside the off stump. A little bit wide, but not wide enough to be called one, even though Vince is just sort of sitting on his bat, probably thinking the umpire could have put his hands out. 117 for 164 needed. 2 balls left of the 12th over. Vince 60 off 37. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I mean, you know, a little bit more pace in the wicket and a little bit more bounce. He'd be a real handful, I think. Comes in and bowls. Vince plays and misses outside the off stump, trying to guide that through the covers. Just played across that ever so slightly. But again, good carry from Crocombe.
Yeah. Well, 10 off the over. Hampshire only need to score at 7.8 and over. DLS is 92. Hampshire 117. So Hampshire way ahead here.
How's he done away from home? I wouldn't necessarily judge him on wickets here because they are a little bit slow and low, aren't they, here? But how has he done in the Championship away from home as he comes in and bowls? Vince drives outside the off stump, misses. 2 dot balls, 2 player misses to finish Crocombe's over there, and Hampshire 117 for 1.
Yes, I don't know what his wickets ratio is away from home. That's one that's worth doing some homework on, actually, Kevin. I mean, the problem that Sussex have had in the Championship this year is, apart from the game against Derbyshire, which they won this week, having said that, Derbyshire did declare, is that Sussex just haven't bowled sides out. So without, I mean, they wouldn't have had Ollie Robinson and Jofra Archer anyway had they been fixed. They'd have probably both been playing for England, I expect. But they haven't looked like bowling sides out has been their problem. But it'd be a good stat to see with Henry Crocombe whether he gets more wickets away from home. It hasn't been easy for seamers this year, is it? With the good batting surfaces and the issues around the Duke ball. But I think he's a good prospect, and he runs in straight, he bowls at the stumps, and I like that. Delray Rawlins is going to bowl the next over from this C end of the ground. 117 for 1, comes in and bowls to Prest, who, let's just see whether he got a little nick on that or whether that's a leg by. It is indeed a leg by, and some sloppy cricket there from Sussex. Josh Philippi raced from behind the stumps through at the bowler's end. There was no one backing up initially until Ravi Bopara did, but it's just a single. 118 for 1. Vince on 60 off 39. Is on strike as in comes Rawlins, bowls, and Vince smears that one out to the leg side. He's going to get a single though, fielded by Alistair Raw. He goes to 61, 119 for 1. Hampshire needing 62 to win, and there are 7 overs remaining after this one. Rawlins in, bowls, Prest hammers that down the ground. It's just going to be a single. Tom Haines quickly round down here at long on, prevents anything more than a single. Press goes to 18 off 11. Brings Vince back on strike. In comes Rawlins, bowls, and Vince is going to get 4 runs. I'm not sure that's quite where he intended that to go. I think he was looking to drive that through extra cover. He got a thickest outside edge nonetheless. The ball raced away between short third man and backward point. 4 runs to James Vince. He goes to 65. And Hampshire to 124 for 1. 57 needed to win. Rawlins in again, bowls, and this has gone high and wide, and he's going to be caught. Here's James Vince. Josh Philippi is right underneath it. He takes the catch, and James Vince has gone. 65 of 42 deliveries for James Vince. Hampshire Hawks 124 for 2. You never know with T20 whether that sort of wicket can change the course of the match. I think Hampshire will be annoyed if they don't win from here. James Vince is really annoyed with himself. He swishes his bat as he walks off. But a wonderful innings by the Hampshire's captain. But the Sharks have given themselves an outside chance. Hampshire 124 for 2. Wonderful knock by James Vince.
Yeah, he just got a little too cocky really in a way, didn't he? I think he could have hit that a little straighter. He went for the slog sweep on the leg side. Got a top edge, it went high into the evening sky. But, good catch from Josh Philippi, kept his eye on it the whole way. He didn't have to move too far from behind the stumps. But yeah, if Vince in that mood just never looked like getting out, he'll be disappointed because he got out. But at times, James Vince looks as though he's in and could keep going forever, and that felt like one of those innings tonight, even though he played and missed a couple of times to Crocombe at the end of his last over. But you just get the feeling that the only person that gets James Vince out of times is James Vince.
Well, it's funny this season. We've seen a number of games in T20, not least the Sussex game here against Gloucester and the Surrey game here against Sussex, that Surrey lost when really they shouldn't have lost, and Sussex shouldn't have lost to Gloucestershire, but they did. And this sort of situation, really, where one side seems to be in control and then 3 or 4 wickets go down very quickly, and these games can change really quickly. But Hampshire firm favourites here, 57 to win. Needing to score 8 and over. New batsman is Joe Weatherly. As Rawlins is in and bowls, and Weatherly is Rawlins thinks he's got him LBW off the first ball that he received. The ball ends up in the hands of backward point, and it's signalled as a leg by. 125 for 2 at the end of the over. Hampshire needing another 56 to win in 7 overs at exactly 8 and over.
Well, I can understand the bowlers getting slightly excited because, as I say, it's not bouncing over the top of the stumps. I think Weatherly probably just got outside off stump. If you're watching the live picture feed, just looks as though he's a fraction outside off stump, but there's not a lot in it.
I think this Rashid Khan could have a key part to play here for Sussex, because he has got 2 overs left to bowl. Yes, so he's bowled 2 overs for 17. Tom Press hit him for a big 6 in his last over. But probably, if Sussex don't have any chance here, they probably need Rashid Khan to pick up a couple of wickets here.
They need him to get on a roll, don't they?
They do.
Quickly.
Yep.
That he does, of course. He's done it many times. 56 needed, and we have 7 overs left. Hampshire 125 for 2. It's Weatherly to face Khan from that far end, the Cromwell Road end. Weatherly sweeps, gets wrapped on the pad again. Now that looks a little leg sideish to me, that one from here. Khan stands about 3 yards away from Weatherly. Just has a little stare, walks back as if he's just had his bottle of milk taken from him.
Clearly
25 for 2.
I mean, difficult to tell from this angle, but what we're looking over first, it looked like it was going down the leg side.
I think it was. It's difficult to tell. As I say, we're about fine third man. Let's go down the leg side. I'll just watch it on the replay. But it was a good shout as Weatherly rocks back on the back foot again. There's that lack of bounce as it goes out on the offside. 126 for 2. I can see why Khan's shouting. There's no doubt about it, but it just looks a bit leg stumpish to be given, really. I think you've got to give the batter the benefit of the doubt there, but probably a little closer on the live picture feed than I thought. But so Khan bowls. There's a sweep there, hard along the ground out to deep mid wicket. Garns right in behind it. 127 for 2. Press moves on to 19 off 12. Hampshire need 54 from here. 2 batters out, but Ben McDermott 30 off 25 balls and Vince 65 off 42. The pair put on 86 for the first wicket. Here's Khan, bowls on the line of leg stump, and that's worked away by Vince. Are they going to take Garton on? Surely not. No, Garton runs in quickly. He's ready to throw at either end before the batters have really had a chance to turn and go for the second. 128 for 2.
Just wonder here whether Hampshire might think, let's just pick up the ones here from Rashid Khan and get the runs we need, from the other end.
That's what a lot of I've read 1 or 2 articles about a lot of batters doing that with Rashid Khan. He's getting a little bit of turn out there, not a lot, just enough. Comes in and bowls, comes back in at press there. It's cutting away. That hasn't missed the off stump by very much. Quicker delivery there from Khan.
See that catch from Rashid Khan? The ball was thrown back to him and he ducked his head, let the ball go over his head and then caught it right behind his back. Yeah, that was extraordinary.
I missed that. I'd love to see that again. I might see that on the live picture feed again in a minute as he bowls. Oh, there's a googly. He's trying to sweep their press and he's gone this time. And the ball before was the leg break, which just went a fraction. That's come back in and Prest has to go. He goes for 19. It's 128 for 3.
Well, we said Kevin for Sussex to have really any chance in this game. They needed Rashid Khan to pick up a couple of wickets, and it was important in this over that he at least got 1 wicket. We wonder whether Hampshire might just be happy to see out the over and pick up the runs at the other end. And it's funny how the run rate does sort of go up in these latter overs, because it was 8 and over, it's now to 8.8 and over. I still think Hampshire are favourites to win the game, but you never know. A couple of wickets go down and a few jitters.
Definitely.
And we've certainly seen that a little bit, quite a lot this season in various games that Sussex have won and Sussex have lost most of them. We get over from Khan. So what's that? 6 overs remaining, 128 for 3 of the Hawks. They need another 53 to win in 6 overs, and Delray Rawlings is going to bowl the next over.
Yeah, you definitely feel Sussex coming back into this.
Yes.
You just feel the momentum swinging towards Sussex at the moment. Certainly another wicket now really will actually put Hampshire under pressure, but you would hope that the start that they've been given will see them over the line. But you do feel as though Hampshire haven't quite got it all their own way like they did early on.
So it's going to be Delray Rawlings in his final over. Comes in and bowls, cut away firmly through the covers. They've taken one, but only as far as George Garton, who's sweeping on the cover boundary. Fielder there, Weatherly goes to 3, 129 for 3. Toby Albert on strike.
Yeah, good little player, 20-year-old. Toby Albert playing just his 11th T20 match tonight.
He just surveys the field and waits for Delray Rawlings. He's bowled a good spell here for Sussex. 3 overs, 1 for 26 now. As in comes Rawlings, bowls short, and Albert just leans on that and plays it into the onside. Picks up a single, no need to panic here for Hampshire. They've picked up a couple of runs off the first 2 balls of the over. 130 for 3, 51 needed to win. 5 overs remaining after this, and 7 wickets in the bank. Rashid Khan has 1 more over to bowl. His figures 3 overs, 1 for 20. Weatherly waits, Rawlings in bowls. Weatherly hits that down the ground, and that's gone for 4 runs. Straight down the ground, low risk shot, good shot by Joe Weatherly. The mid on and the mid off was slightly wide, and he's drilled that straight back down the ground. Lovely shot for a boundary. That just eases just a little bit of pressure on Hampshire, I think, Kevin. If it was building a bit, it just means a 6 off the over already. Good shot. Rawlings in again, bowls, and Weatherly he looked to drive that down the ground as well, but he got a thick outside edge. The ball ended up at short third man, fielded there by Henry Crocombe. Weatherly on 7, Albert on 1, 134 for 3. Hampshire needing 47 to win. Rawlings in, bowls, and Weatherly hammers that down. That's going to be 4 more. But he's hit that really hard, straight down the ground. 1 to long off, 1 down here to long on. Lovely shots. That's 10 off the over. Weatherly goes to 11 off 8. Good over as far as Hampshire are concerned. 138 for 3, and that's prompted a debate between Ravi Bopara and Josh Philippi, the keeper, as to maybe a fielding change.
Well, 2 good hits straight there from Weatherly. One from a ball that was a little bit more flighted from Rawlings, and then that last one which was fired in. And I don't know if he was going for the Yorker. It wasn't quite full enough.
Rawlings again, round the wicket, bowls. Weatherly is forward, plays it down the track. Rawlings is annoyed and sort of kicks the ball away at the end of the over, which is Hampshire 138 for 3, needing 43 to win in 5 overs. They need to score at 8.6 and over, currently going along at 9.2 and over. Weatherly on 11, Albert on 1.
Well, there's no Tymal Mills to call on for Sussex this evening in this stages. I guess George Garton might come back at some point and have an over or 2, but I don't know whether they'll risk Crocombe. 2 overs for 26.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably got to bowl Rashid Khan. I mean, he won't want to. Sussex won't want to lose the game, and Khan hasn't bowled his full overs. That wouldn't make any sense at all. No. So I think there was a bit of a debate there. Do we hold you back for another couple of overs? But it could be too late by then. So I think Bopara's hand's been slightly forced here.
Will Beer on his final T20 game for Sussex only bowled the 1 over so far for 7. Here's Khan bowls, and Albert works that away on the onside. They run the first one quickly. Where's Albert going? Get back.
Yeah.
It's George Garton doing the fielding. Weatherly knew that. He didn't move too much for the second, but Albert had turned and was starting to go. 139 for 3. They're the old youth, eh?
They know, don't they, Kevin, who are the good fielders?
They do, yeah. And we've worked that out. Well, you had, but there's Khan bowls, and Weatherly's cutting that one. The ball that comes back to him. He goes on the 45 quickly to Finn. Albert, who looks as though he's drilling his pumping a little bit. He was already halfway down and was easily home to the danger end. 140 for 3. Albert back on strike. 2 off 2. Weatherly has 12 off 10. As Khan in his last over here comes in and bowls to Albert. Albert works that away on the onside. That'll only be a single as it goes up to Rawlings at the far end of the ground at deep mid-on. 141 for 3, and Hampshire from here need 40 to win. We are halfway through the 16th over.
I think they'll be happy to pick up 6 runs here, all in singles if they can, Hampshire, and see the back of Rashid Khan.
Yeah, comes in again and bowls to Weatherly. Weatherly slog sweeps on the leg side all along the ground. And Just fetches that from just outside the off stump. Single to Weatherly, takes him on to 13. 142 for 3, 39 needed. Hampshire already assured of a quarter-final place. Just trying to keep the momentum up as they go into next week's quarter-finals. Having come into this game, having won 8 out of 9. Here comes Khan, bowls. And he's playing across the line there, Albert. How has that missed the stumps? I don't know. And I think Philippe had the bail off anyway, but he's playing across the line there. That kind of missed off stump by very much. Wow. Albert's still there. Got to treat Khan with a little bit of respect. Goes for the reverse sweep, bowled. And he's fallen over as the middle stump is knocked out. He's trying to hit that so hard, Albert. He's done almost a backwards somersault. And Khan picks up another wicket here. And Hampshire are now 142 for 4.
It's easy to say from here. I'm not entirely sure he needed to play that shot, really. And I thought perhaps the tactic was just to see Rashid Khan off, pick up the one, and that would have been the end of Rashid Khan. As it is, Rashid Khan is now bowled out, so 4 overs left. 39 needed to win. So I guess the run rate required is up to the best part of 10 and over now. I'm trying to see. I think Ravi Bopara, who's got 1 left to bowl. Yeah, Bopara's got 1 to bowl. Steve Finn's only bowled 1 over, Bopara's now going to bowl his 4th over. Oh, he gets a long ball, doesn't he, Ross Whiteley? Has he had a good, decent season, or is it?
Not particularly.
Not especially.
No, he hasn't really. I mean, he's had a couple of cameos towards the end. I mean, he's come in late a couple of times. But nothing big. 27 is top score, but he is striking at 130 still. But his career, he strikes at just over 140, so he's slightly down all round. But he looks dangerous. Doesn't quite put an innings together yet.
So we'll be hoping just to keep it tight here and maybe lead Hampshire leaving sort of 12 and over or something off the last 3. Let's see. In comes Bopara, bowls and hammered down the ground. That could be 4 runs or a 2 fielders converging. They're going to collide if they're not careful. Well, in the end, Delray Rawlings took charge. Good bit of fielding by Rawlings. He's very quick for a minute. I thought Castle and Rawlings were going to collide. Well, Rawlings just round quickly. Called, got the throw in. Just a single to Weatherly, who goes to 14. 14 off 12, 143 for 4. Hampshire needing 38 to win off of 23 balls. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Can still favour Hampshire. A couple of wickets might make it interesting. Bopara coming into bowl to the left-handed Ross Whiteley. In bowls, and Whiteley plays that firmly down the ground, picks up a single. Again, it's Rawlings who fields, who looks to have recovered from those various ailments earlier on in the game. 144 for 4, 37 needed to win. Hampshire needing to score now at 10.1 and over.
I think he's got some plaster on his thumb, I think, there, looking at that. He's quite near us, isn't he?
Yes,
like
he is.
Plaster.
Just down below us to the right-hand side is Delray. Bopara just pauses in front of us, and he's going to come running into bowl to Joe Weatherly. Hampshire could probably do with a boundary here as Bopara in, and Weatherly pulls that away onto the leg side, and he's caught by Rashid Khan. And another wicket goes down, and Joe Weatherly goes for 14, and Hampshire 144 for 5. Good catch actually by Rashid Khan. He was on the deep mid-wicket boundary, committed to the catch, took the catch. I think we felt Bopara probably had to bowl this over and leave Hampshire sort of an awkward sort of maybe 11, 12 and over for the last 3. So Weatherly goes, and Hampshire now 144 for 5, having got one stage been 124 for 1.
Yeah, so they've lost
4 for 20.
Yeah, they have, including James Vince, which started that little collapse off. So, yeah, things have changed, no doubt about it. It's not quite as clear-cut now as it looked, certainly when Vince and McDermott were out there, and again, Vince and Tom Preston made 19 off 14. But James Fuller coming to the crease.
Yeah, I like James Fuller. I think he's a good cricketer.
Well, he's in some some good form. Got a really important 42 off about 24 balls on Friday night. The only batter that looked as though he'd mastered quite a tricky wicket. And here, in the last couple of games, he's got runs as well. 26 off 16 balls, 26 not out last year, this fixture. And you may remember 53 not out of just 32 balls 2 years ago here, including 5 sixes. So he does like this ground.
Does he not quite like to hit straight? Because the boundaries
everywhere.
Right, okay, if it goes, it's going to go. 2 off the over so far. Could be a good finish here. 37 needed. 3 overs and 3 balls remaining. In comes Bopara, running in over the wicket bowls to Fuller, who clubs this one away on the leg side, picks up a single. Rashid Khan very quickly in from mid-wicket to field. So Fuller's on his way with the single. 36 needed. Hampshire needing to score at 10.8 and over. It brings Ross Whiteley on to strike.
Well, we always knew it was a good total, wasn't it? It was up there, 180 for 8, but the way that McDermott and Vince started off, 86 they put on before Ben McDermott went in the 9th. They did make it look quite easy, but things are changing.
Bopara runs away from us. The problem Sussex have, I'll come back to that in a minute, as in comes Bopara and bowls. Whiteley drives this through. That's a lovely shot. Rawlins gets round very quickly. Oh, great bit of field. Brilliant bit of fielding by Rawlins. Oh, well, I don't know why he didn't. I thought he'd kept that ball inside the boundary edge.
Did he touch the ball and his body?
Maybe he did. Maybe it was a very honest bit of fielding. Lovely shot by Whiteley, beautifully played. 3 extra cover for 4 runs, and that's just what Hampshire needed.
Yeah, I've never been so relieved to get a boundary in this situation because it's getting tougher for Hampshire.
Final ball of the over, 149 for 5. 32 needed to win. In 19 balls, as in comes Bopara round the wicket bowls to Whiteley, who clips this through mid-wicket. Now they've taken 1, there won't be 2 here because Gartner's do it very quickly. Throw comes in, never a second there. He's a brilliant fielder, George Garton. That was 1 bounce over the top of the stumps. Philippi didn't need to move. So at the end of the over, 31 to win. Need Hampshire, 150 for 5. 3 overs remaining. The problem Sussex have is that Khan is bowled out, Bopara's bowled out, and he's got to look elsewhere as Ravi Bopara. Crowd enjoying themselves. Well, Steve Finn has only bowled 1 over. Henry Crocombe has bowled 2. Will Beers only bowled the 1 over, as you say. George Garland just 1 over. And Bopara's going to turn to young Henry Crocombe.
That's an interesting move. Interesting move. Yes, a little bit of pace and a bit of bounce from him, but comes onto the bat a little easier than the other bowlers. And this could be a telling over either way.
He's had to bowl some overs, Henry Crocombe. At Chelmsford a couple of weeks, I think he bowled the penultimate over, which was a tough gig actually. And you just feel here that it's, well, at least he's not bowling the penultimate over. He's being brought on with 3 to bowl. Hampshire need to score at 10.3 and over. 31, 5 wickets in hand, 3 overs left. I would still favour Hampshire, to be honest. But a couple of wickets more and could get still Liam Dawson to come.
Yeah, so right arm medium quick to left-hander, comes in and bowls, length ball, that's worked out behind square on the offside, but it's gone to fielder just behind backward of point. There's no run. I mentioned about Crocombe, he's played 6 games in the Championship, picked up 15 wickets at 39 apiece, which I would say for him is a little disappointing, if I'm honest. Looking at what the pace he bowls, it's a good pace. It's not quick, but he hits the deck. Bowls, and he gets wrapped on the pad there, Whiteley trying to flick that away on the leg side. They will run through for a leg by, so 30 are needed here by Hampshire.
It's interesting the effect he does have on the run rate, isn't it? It's now up to 11.3 and over. It was 10.9 before that delivery.
It's going up quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, it does go very quickly now.
4 balls left of over number 18, so we have effectively 16 balls left in the game.
Yeah, 2 a ball.
Needing, 30 runs here. Crowd starting to get into it. Those blue hats away, those blue hairy hats still in that stand away to our left. I love that colour actually. It's quite a nice blue there. Nice yellow hats or hairy hats. I haven't seen so many of those around the Aegeus this year. I've seen 1 or 2, but I've certainly seen more hairy hats here tonight than I've seen in the whole group stage of this year's competition. Whatever colour when Hampshire have been away from home. big chat here from Bopara to Crocom. Obviously turning in where to bowl here to Fuller. Bowls. Fuller hits it over his head for 4. That's just a length ball. Swatted away by Fuller.
Shot.
155 for 5. That target from here on in is down to 26.
We did say about James Fuller hitting straight down the ground. He just clubbed that straight back over Crocom's head, didn't he? That was a, beautiful shot. And the run rate that was 11.3 is now to 10.4. It just goes to show a dot ball or a boundary can make a huge difference.
It certainly does. Bopara looks like he's going to stay at mid-off. There is a deep mid-on. And Bopara having another word with the youngster as he comes in from that Cromwell Road end and bowls to Fuller once more. I thought he nearly bowled.
So did I.
Underneath the bottom of the bat. Fuller in the end played it quite easily up towards mid-on, but it kept very low. But Fuller...
Well, you and me the same. I thought it had bowled him.
It's so low, the bounce, but Fuller made it look easy. That's the form he's in. 156 for 5. Fuller moves on to 6, and 25 are needed now of 14 deliveries. It's going to be a cracker here with Whiteley back on strike. He has 6 off 5. And the field on the leg side, as you'd expect. The field is on the leg side, apart from one, are all on the boundary. Leg ball, he's launched that! He has launched that over the floodlights on the leg side.
Wow.
And that's bounced into the flats. That is as big a hit as I think I've seen here.
That's
huge.
Is
absolutely massive. To get a ball over a floodlight, it probably didn't, but it felt like it.
Well, it did feel like, I thought it did sail over the floodlight. Massive shot. And in the context of the game, all of a sudden it's now 19 to win in 13 balls.
But this is it, he's bowling length and it's coming onto the bat. And I just thought it was a big risk for Sussex. And so it's proving at the moment with Hampshire on 162 for 5. Whiteley, short ball, and he bounces underneath that. What are the umpires going to call for that? They say it's okay. Well, that was a good bouncer. He got very low, I have to say, under it, Ross Whiteley, and it's a dot ball to finish the over off. 162 for 5.
Well, now there's a conversation going on between Ravi Bopara, Josh Philippi and Will Beer. Steve Finn is going to join the conversation. Well, Sussex have got to find 2 overs from somewhere.
It's almost like they don't want to bowl Will Beer. It's almost like they're playing him in this game, just to say, so he could say farewell to the crowd. They haven't trusted him in this game at all, have they?
Now, is he going to bowl now? Steve Finn is warming up. I mean, you'd have thought Steve Finn has only bowled the 1 over.
What about Garton?
George Garton's going to bowl.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, they're calling George Garton. No, he wasn't expecting to bowl him, George Garton. He was talking to someone in the crowd, and I think I think George Garton's going to bowl here.
Yeah, I would have gone with him.
So Steve Finn has only bowled 1 over, which does seem slightly strange, but it is going to be George Garton, who I really don't think was expecting to bowl. But he is going to bowl the penultimate over. He's bowled 1 over, was it for 11? I think it is
10.
1 over for 10.
I mean, I guess he'll keep the ball right up to the bat. I guess to Fuller, he'll bowl full outside the off stump. I think he's capable of doing it. We saw it in his 1 over, didn't he? Bowling full outside the off stump to James Vince. If he gets it in the right areas, he might cause some problems. All Sussex have got to do is, of course, try and get some dot balls here, and put more pressure on Hampshire.
Well, it's James Fuller who's facing. In comes George Garton, over the wicket, bowls, and Fuller drives this away, and he's going to get a boundary off the first ball. Scooed away over backward point for 4 runs. See, Fuller goes to 10 off 4. Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry, I was going to say, I just don't think the field is set. If he's going to bowl full outside the off stump, you've got to have somebody down on the rope behind square on the offside. I think we saw that in the Sussex innings when Chris Wood was bowling there.
Yes,
and
you're right.
Garton hit some down there, and there was nobody down there.
15 to win. Hampshire favourites now, 166 for 5. Garton in bowls, down the legs. Oh, let's go away. It's going to be 4 more. I'm not sure if they're leg buys or whether it came off a bit of glove. They are runs to James Fuller. Back-to-back boundaries, 8 off the over, 11 needed to win off 10 balls. And I think Hampshire will kick themselves if they don't win from here.
Yeah, looks, it's great batting. It is good batting. There's enough Hampshire batters in form here. And they've been winning some tight games. They haven't won it yet. It could still go either way. But Garton, I think, then gets frightened by not having the right field on the offside and a bit more insurance. He then thinks, I can't do that. I've now got to bowl straighter. And in the end, he's bowled 2 straight.
Garton runs away from us. Comes in and bowls to Fuller, and Fuller hammers that one away down the ground to long off, fielded by Ollie Carter. Down in front of us, one more to the total, 10 needed to win. Hampshire 171 for 5, Fuller 15 off 6. Well, you said he was in good form. It's just a little cameo at the right time. Hasn't panicked and...
Well, no, there was a couple of good cameos in the Sussex innings, wasn't there, towards the end? I mean, Rashid Khan not out with 25 off just 12. Delroy Rawlings 29 off 22. That pushed the Sussex total up to a really challenging target.
George Garton in again, bowls, and let's just wait up. Yeah, it's been given a
no ball.
He's giving it as a no ball. Yeah.
That's higher than the one from Crocombe in last over. It had to be called.
8 to win, and I think Hampshire are virtually over the line. 3 balls still to go in this over. 11 off the over so far. In comes Garton, bowls to Whiteley, and Whiteley. Well, he looked to flick that way on the leg side, and the ball just bounced down in front of him.
Yeah, it's bold. It's a slight change of pace there from Garton. I mean, he's been under pressure this over, absolutely no doubt. When you're going for 2 boundaries in your first 2 balls in this situation, you're under massive pressure. So good on him. You know, he's bowled the slower ball there. You run the risk. I think we saw Wood bowl the slower ball that went for 6 over mid-on. So you do run the risk, but at least if you make a decision and you go through with it, I mean, there he's been rewarded as a dot ball, but he'll want at least another 1, maybe 2 off these next 2.
Away from Austin and bowls to White, who hammers that straight down the ground. That's going to be 4 runs. What a shot that is. The ball clatter down into the area down below us. 4 runs, super shot by Whiteley. 16 off 10. Hampshire pretty much home and hose. Time I handed the mic to you, Kevin, because Hampshire are virtually over the line here. 4 needed to win. Yeah,
15 off this over already. So it's been, you know, Sussex needed this to be a quiet over to put pressure on in the last over. Hampshire wanted a big over to take the pressure off, and that's exactly what they've got here. 4 needed, 1 ball left of the 19th. Bowling to Whiteley. Garton bowls. Oh, it's a slower ball, and it's almost bowled White. He was trying to heave that away on the leg side. That's a good comeback there from George Garton, but probably a little too late. With 1 over left, Hampshire at 177 for 5 need 4 runs to win.
So I was a little bit surprised. I feel a bit sorry for George, because I honestly don't think he was expecting to bowl that over. I mean, he was out on the deep mid-wicket boundary. He was talking to someone out there. It was the end of the over. There was nothing wrong with that. But I just don't think... And now Will Beer is going to bowl the last over, so it's going to be his final act here at Hove. But to be honest, he's on a hiding to nothing, because Hampshire need 4 to win off the last over. And with the best will in the world, it would be probably one of the most amazing overs of all time if Hampshire aren't to win here. But I just thought it was an odd decision. He had Steve Finn up his sleeve as well.
Well, that's a big cheer for Will Beer, and I'll tell you what, it'd be even bigger if he could win the game from here. I can't see him doing it.
No.
I tell you what, if he wins the game from here, I think he will be offered a contract for next year. 177 for 5 with Hampshire needing 4 to win. I'll tell you what, I'll pay for his contract next year.
Yeah, there'll be someone running out with a bit of paper sign here.
Say sign, please.
Yeah.
Right, so here we are. Beer to Fuller. Fuller's 15 off 6. And you just never know with a spinner on. You just never know what might happen. Comes in from that Cromwell Road end and bowls. Fuller goes for the huge heave over mid-wicket. That's going to be the runs, I think, that Hampshire need. And Garton can't quite get there. And Fuller has hit the winning runs here. Hampshire win this game by 5 wickets. 181 for 5. It's the first time Hampshire have won here in 4 visits. And that keeps the momentum up for a Hampshire side who know that they came here already with a quarter-final berth secured. They've won 9 out of their last 10. The momentum is with the away side here. And Sussex, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed. 180 for 8 is certainly defendable, but on the night, Hampshire with a better side.
Yeah, they were, and I think they got off to a great start. Kevin in there, I thought James Vince batted beautifully. He was annoyed, but he got himself out. There was a flicker of hope when Rashid Khan and Ravi Bopara were bowling in those middle overs, but we said, you know, somehow Bopara had to find 3 overs from somewhere. Not easy for the quicker bowlers, as you say. They disappeared, and in the end, a comfortable win for Hampshire, and just remains really, Kevin, to wish Hampshire well in the semi-finals. I guess we'll find out in a moment who they're playing and when that game is going to be. But I mean, when you've got batsmen, you've got Fuller coming in down the order to finish things off. You've got Jane Vince in terrific form at the top of the order. It's going to take a good side to beat Hampshire, I think.
Yeah, I mean, at the first 4 games, they weren't quite all over the place, but they didn't have their plans right. We know they're a good side, and they're proving it. There is absolutely no doubt about it. They're going into the quarterfinals exactly where they were last year, where they had a poor start to the competition. They got better as the group stages went through. They really did straight through, and then in the quarterfinals beat a very strong Nottinghamshire side, literally because the momentum's with Hampshire. But listen, Sussex, I know they've had a poor competition, but I thought there was lots good about them tonight. No doubt about that. But tonight, it's Hampshire, and we now await as to who exactly Hampshire will face away in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Birmingham made 168 for 8, Lancashire 148 for 7, needing 20 to win, or 21 to win, I should say, in 11 balls. So could well be. So if Birmingham win that game, it looks like you'd be going to Edgbaston and not Old Trafford. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, I'd settle that in simply because it's not as far away.
And you'll face an old boy in Danny Briggs as well.
Looking forward to that.
So the spectators all running onto the pitch. There'll be autographs to be signed. I'm sure Will Beer will be in demand. We'll try and grab a word with Will, and you'll hear that on our breakfast programme tomorrow on BBC Radio. So it's going to be a disappointing campaign for Sussex, though, Kevin, winning 4 out of 14, beaten both Somerset and Surrey, but disappointing for Sussex, really. And there'll be a bit of a rethink, bit of an inquest, I think, when you put a lot of